youngest champion.
That is incredible.
This is
First stop, New York, home of the NFC's champion New York Football Giants. The youngest team in the league has learned the oldest trick in the book. Defense will get you the green light to success, and that's no hearsay. Into town runs an old foe with a new team. Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter, and the Vikings hope to pass through New York on their way up the playoff ladder. Then, Mark Brunell and the Jaguars return to Denver and the scene of last year's crime. Their mission, to author another mile-high playoff stunner. But revenge is the word in Denver, as Terrell Davis and company have their own mission, run Jacksonville out of town. Time to salute the teams that have made it to the playoffs. Attention, it's Wild Card Saturday. You're looking live at the Meadowlands, a half hour to kickoff of the 1997 playoffs, and what better way to start than a cold weather, a little rain, a little snow game in the Big Apple. And hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman, and happy holidays to you and yours. We've got to open the first presents here of the playoffs. That's always fun. But you know what? Starting the playoffs, kicking it off, it's a real big job. And I think we need more than one Boomer to do this, which is why we welcome back Bengals quarterback Boomer Esiason.
Merry Christmas, Boomer.
Merry Christmas. And thanks again for playing on a team that allows you to be with us the opening weekend.
All right, well, it's very nice to be here. I'd much rather be out on the field playing.
Well, if you play the whole year like you did the last month, you guys, we'll be watching you next year. Playoffs, a little extra hitch in the giddy up in there for
There's
everybody.
no question that the level of intensity is going to pick up. The emotional feelings that the coaches are going to portray back to their players are going to be very excitable. And you'll see at the beginning of these games that these players are going to come out hyped up. So it's going to be very interesting, especially this game, to see how this plays out.
And take care of the football. Don't be so hyped up that you get a little bit off the charts.
The most important thing.
Well, our first of today's doubleheader pits a team in the postseason for the fifth time in 6 years, the 9-7 Minnesota Vikings, against one that stunned even their most diehard fans, the New York Football Giants. Picked to finish last, maybe fourth. They went from 1-3 to 10-5-1 and champs of the NFC East, becoming the first team to go undefeated in this division. To the Meadowlands, and our team, headed by Mike Patrick. Michael.
All right, thank you, Chris, and it's perfect Giant football weather. It's cold, temperatures in the low 30s. We have a wet snow falling, and of course, the biggest factor today could be the wind if it blows harder. My partner, Joe Theismann, knows a thing or two about that. He's thrown a few passes here at the Meadowlands during his career, and he has a quarterback perspective on what the wind can do.
Mike, I'm down here on the southeast end of the field where the wind could really be a factor in today's football game. Both Randall Cunningham and Danny Cannell have to be careful when they throw the football. They've got to be fundamentally sound. They've got to step to the target, square their shoulders and their hips where they're throwing the football. Another thing you want to look for in this football game, when the teams are going against the wind, look for them to be a bit conservative. Short passes, running game. But when they get the wind at their back, look for them to try and put points on the board through the air.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. And, Chris, a couple of injury updates for you. Giants cornerback Felipe Sparks, about 95% recovered from a bad knee. He will start tonight. And good news for the Vikings. Their center, Everett Lindsay, who has a bad ankle, he'll also start today. That's the story from Giant Stadium. Back to you, Chris.
All right, Mike, back out to you guys at the bottom of the hour. Jim Fossil, you guys hooked up in Arizona when he was offensive coordinator. This is a prehistoric Fossil offense, not the gambling guy that you knew, but do we expect the same today, playoff football, same blue-collar football?
Is this the same guy that I remember back in Arizona? 28th in the league with the pass and 7th now against the rush. But this team was built before Jim got there, and he knew what it was built for, defense and a running game. So I definitely expect that we'll see more of Charles Way, Rodney Hampton, and Tiki Barber today.
But if they get a turnover, they do go for the jugular on a short field. Speaking of turnover, when we return, a closer look at the unit that's turned the Giants around faster than a New York minute. Jesse Armstead and the New York Giants defense.
ABC's NFL Wild Card Saturday. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste. And Microsoft. Where do you want to go today?
Michael Strahan, along with Jesse Armstead, Pro Bowlers on the defense for the Giants, their first on D since 1990. From the sneaker game through Andy Robustelli, through LT until now, the Giants defense remains the bedrock of the ball club. We go back out to the Meadowlands to join our Leslie Visser. Leslie, happy holidays to you.
And to you, to Boomer and Boomer, 'tis the postseason. Well, as you guys know, the Giant defense is considered the best it's been since the glory days of 1990. And they are led by a trash-talking outside linebacker who was once the editor of his high school paper, where he said he wrote glowing articles about himself. He has been called the heart and soul of the Giant defense. But the road to his first Pro Bowl has been paved with highs and lows. A natural leader, he has had to earn his command. Back in 1988 at Dallas Carter High, he was considered the #1 player in the country. If his play didn't speak for itself, Jesse did.
I had that attitude when I was in high school, that I was the best, and I would tell anybody that. And a lot of people disliked me for that attitude I had.
With that confidence, that nerve, Armstead was recruited by every major college. To announce his decision, he paid $300 for a room at a fine hotel and threw his own press conference.
Well, y'all see it's Miami right now.
All right. He traded in number 46 for jersey number 1. As a freshman at Miami, Armstead started every game for then-coach Jimmy Johnson, who later passed on him in the NFL draft. Armstead's bravado was matched by his play.
I attended the University of Miami. You know, I was the best high school linebacker, and I never thought I could get hurt. I was Superman. You know, nothing could happen to me.
But then reality came to call.
I blew my knee out against Florida State, and life just flashed in front of me.
After grueling rehabilitation, Armstead returned to finish out his college career with relative success, but his market value had dropped. He fell to the 207th pick in the '93 draft. The Giants finally called, and this time he would wear number 98.
When he was sitting there in the 8th round, I remember we were talking, and then we said, let's pick the best football player that's left on that board. And I said, we all agreed to the same guy. It was Jesse Armstead.
Well, I realized that, you know, I was a damaged car. You know, why buy a wrecked car when you get a new car?
It might have been an old car, but the engine was fierce. With the ability to play the run, rush the passer, and cover receivers, Armstead broke through as a superstar this year.
He's very energetic out there. He keeps us all going. He keeps us all in tune. We all get to live vicariously through Jesse on the field.
Yeah, baby. We don't have a long day, me and you today.
I'm always talking. I mean no harm, but when I'm on the field, that's part of my game.
Can't find that star once. Let's go.
But Armstead, who wants to play a decade in the NFL, has not forgotten how long it took to hear his name called in the draft. He keeps the list of the 32 linebackers whose names were called before his.
There's still 16 left in the league, 16 or 17 left in the league. And I want to be one of the last ones standing, and that's my goal. You know, I want to keep doing the things that I'm doing, but I want to be the last one standing.
How much does this guy love to play? Well, 2 weeks ago against Washington, he asked to be on the punt coverage team. Look for him again there today. Also on special teams, Jason Sehorn practiced all week on kickoff returns. He, of course, played there at USC. Well, I called Lawrence Taylor to ask his thoughts about Jesse Armstead. He said, I've never told anyone this before, but Jesse Armstead is the closest I've seen to Lawrence Taylor. Pretty high praise, Boomer.
Yeah, no question about that, Leslie. That's for plus covering punts. Yee. Watch out, Vikings. Say, hey, this is reminiscent of the old Giant defense, isn't it?
It really is. And when you think about when Jim Fossil took over this organization, the best thing that he did was hire John Fox as his defensive coordinator. Now, certainly Jesse Armstead is definitely the unquestioned leader, but when you throw in Michael Strahan, Keith Hamilton, Jason Sehorn, and also Felipe Sparks, you have a fine nucleus. And now today, they're going to be tested by none other than Robert Smith, who averages 5.5 yards a carry, second in the NFL to none other than Barry Sanders.
Dennis Green's never had a healthy Robert Smith in the playoffs. He'll take his chances because he's 0-4 in the playoffs thus far. And when we return, a visit with Dennis Green. He started Sean Salisbury, Jim McMahon, Warren Moon, Brad Johnson. Today it's Randall at quarterback. Is the 5th time the charm? We'll be back. Against the Giants, 7-5. He's 6-3 lifetime in the Meadowlands. But the real question about Randall Cunningham at quarterback today, making his 4th start now for the Vikings after a year off. Is he still rusty, Boomer, do you think?
Well, the ultimate wild card in the wild card game is going to be Randall Cunningham. Is he going to be the player that threw 3 interceptions last week, or the player in the same game who threw 4 touchdown passes? With the weather the way it is today, he's going to have to protect the football. No turnovers, because the Giants led the NFL in turnover differential, a plus 25, which is the 3rd best ever in the NFL.
Well, the Giants are hoping he doesn't leap over. Well, Carl Banks isn't there, so he doesn't do that. While Randall, though, is 1-4 in the postseason. Dennis Green, 0-4 lifetime as coach in the playoffs. Leslie, as we go back to you at the Meadowlands, the wins in Minnesota, in some ways swirling around Dennis Green this year, are like the wins that we often see at the Meadowlands, aren't they?
Boomer, that's true. The winds are swirling here, and it's been a winter of discontent in Minnesota. The team is for sale, and the coach may be gone after Dennis Green wrote a book in which he threatened to sue for control of the team. Well, Dennis Green has always been a rebel. He led the black protests at the University of Iowa in 1969, and he may be gone after this game. Denny, is this your last game as the Minnesota Vikings head coach?
You know, I haven't thought about that. I mean, I think that, you know, I'm the only coach in the National Football League whose contract runs out in 1998, after the 1998 season. That's a little bit unusual, but, you know, the bottom line is I just want to coach now as far as we can, take the team as far as we can, and focus on the playoffs. We're very happy to be here and excited to be here. So I don't want to think about next year right now.
Will it mean something to you to just get people to stop asking you why you haven't won a playoff game?
I'm not focused on one playoff game. I'm focused on trying to win a Super Bowl championship. The whole concept is get there and have a running game. And we have Robert Smith now. Get there and be with a good quarterback that you feel comfortable with. We feel good about Randall Cunningham. And then to get there and move on.
What is the greatest misconception about you?
It's hard to say. I think that that people in Minnesota don't like or respect Dennis Green, when in reality, it's a lot of times people in the media that I've had problems with.
Can it invade people's life and violate them and in some ways ruin your life?
Well, I think so. I mean, I talked about that in my book as far as, you know, your reputation, but I think it goes a little bit further than that in Minnesota. I mean, we've got some columnists who have made up their mind and they've talked about it. I've got proof of that their number one objective was to run Dennis Green out of town. And I think that that's totally different than being objective in your criticism and reporting. I march to my own beat. I've always been that way. Anybody understands me understands that. People who deal with a half a glass of water that's empty, I don't deal with it that way. I take the high road. The half a glass of water is full.
Dennis Green told me that in the spring of 1996, 3 columnists from Minneapolis, from the Star Tribune and the Pioneer Press, met with a Viking official where, according to Green, they outlined a plan to smear him until he was fired. Editors from the Pioneer Press and the Star Tribune told me these allegations are totally without merit. The sports editor of the Pioneer Press, Emilio Garcia Ruiz, said, hey, in this town, you can't get 3 columnists to agree on anything. Boomer?
Sounds like many towns, Leslie. Well, Dennis, no matter what's going on, Boomer, I know him pretty well. He's always upbeat, and so is their defensive tackle, now defensive end, John Randall, 15.5 sacks to lead the league.
I absolutely hate this guy, and I hate playing against him. Now, you think Jesse Armstead talks a lot. He's a choir boy compared to this man. This guy never stops talking. His motor never stops running. He's in the backfield all day long, and he's always reminding you that he's there.
And they've swung him out to end, where he's had, what, in the 2 games at end, he's had 5 sacks. When we return, an update on the second game. We'll join Frank Gifford at Denver for a preview of Jacksonville and Denver. Ready at the Meadowlands, bottom of the hour, the Giants against the Vikings. Not long to wait for that game, but in Denver, the Broncos have been waiting for 51 weeks for a shot at Jacksonville. Let's go out to Denver and welcome Frank Gifford. And Frank, happy holidays to you.
Well, happy holidays to all of you in our New York studio. As you can see, there's snow on the ground. The weather expected to be fine, however. The temperature rising to the low 40s. And apparently Terrell Davis, the gifted running back for the Denver Broncos, also fine. Our word is that he's going to get his normal amount of carries. He injured his shoulder, of course, in our 49er game on December the 15th. There is another compelling story here in Denver, however, and that's the story of John Elway, who's failed to win the Super Bowl in 3 trips. John Elway was 26 years old when he first took the Broncos to the Super Bowl. Elway threw for over 300 yards, but they lost to the Giants. The following year, the Broncos got off to an early 10-0 lead, but they never scored again, and they were crushed by the Redskins, 42-10 in Super Bowl 22. Super Bowl 24, Joe Montana threw 5 touchdown passes as Elway and the Broncos never had a chance. It's been a magnificent career, but one void of the game's premier accomplishment. Today, John begins another run at it. And Chris, today's game has all the trappings and one Denver has waited for almost a year. It should be a beauty. Back to you in New York.
That should be. That'll be our late game. Thank you, Frank. What are you looking for in the early game?
Well, this game is not going to be a real exciting game. I think it's going to be, grinded out defense, and the weather is going to, lead to that as well. So I expect, 13-10 maybe, maybe 15-10, something like that.
Points at a premium, huh?
Right, exactly.
Well, I tell you what, it's very fitting that this year, that maybe George Young's last year, general manager with the Giants, the year that Wellington Mara, the owner of the Giants, went into the Hall of Fame. Kind of nice Christmas present that these guys got an NFC East championship and coming from out of anywhere. Vikings, Giants, the Meadowlands in a moment. The crowd revved up as they introduce the defense. That's the unit that got them there. We'll see you at halftime.
The New York Giants have shocked the football world, soaring from worst to first and going undefeated in the NFC East. Rookie coach Jim Fossil brought a formula for success that's tried and true Big Blue, a power running game, and a punishing defense.
The record is obviously exciting to us. Being undefeated in our division, which nobody has done before, is exciting to us. But what's really, I'm really proud of this team is we started out at the bottom again and they fought their way through it.
Dennis Green's Minnesota Vikings enter today's matchup with a decided edge in offensive weapons. But it's triggerman Randall Cunningham who will determine if they can end their string of 6 straight playoff defeats. It's the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants on ABC's NFC Wild Card Playoff.
This is our home turf, and we're going to win here, baby. Playoffs on 3, 1, 2, 3. We got to know it. We're not done yet. Bring on the game.
Well, it's playoff time, and it's do or die. One team lives, the other says bye. The winner gets glory, fame, and chills. The loser can only wait till next year. You better be ready. You better get right. It's time to kick off this wild card fight. Hit it. Come on and hit it. Come on and get ready. Are you ready for some football? A postseason party. Yeah, this is Hank and my team. Ready to get this thing started. Get those helmets crushing. The crowd is psyched. It's the NFL playoffs coming on. That's right. Bring on the game. Let's do this. Now.
Giant Stadium at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, where today a sellout crowd of over 78,000 will brave the elements to see the Giants host the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Wild Card. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us. The New York Giants are the counterculture of the NFL. In a league where star power wins, they have very few. Their most productive offensive player is a fullback, Charles Way. Their quarterback, Danny Cannell, can best be described as efficient. And yet first-year coach Jim Fossil has them playing very smart football. Only 19 turnovers, the best in the NFL. He also has them playing a very aggressive defense. 44 takeaways, also the best in the NFL. And that plus 25 turnover ratio is the 3rd best ever since the merger in 1970. That's the reason they're still playing football here at the Meadowlands after Christmas. Let me bring in my partner, Joe Theismann. And Joe, the weather conditions scream Giant football. It's cold, we've got snow, the wind is picking up. All these good for the Giants, not so good for the Minnesota offense.
Well, there's no question, Mike. I mean, even though the Vikings have a pair of great receivers in Chris Carter and Jake Reed, I don't believe that Dennis Green wants to put this game on the shoulders of Randall Cunningham. This can be a tough place to play when the weather is bad. If I'm Dennis Green, I think I want to get the ball as much as I can to Robert Smith. Now, here's a guy this season that's rushed for 1,200 yards and is a legitimate home run threat every time he touches the ball. Even though Dennis Green is 0-4 in the playoffs, he has never had Robert Smith. And when I talk to the Viking players, they think that Smith can be the difference.
All right, Joe, the first playoff game of the season, 120 seconds away. The Vikings and the Giants back with the opening kickoff right after this. Degrees at the Meadowlands with snow showers. The wind starting to pick up a little bit right now, southwest at 7. Jim Fossil, the NFL Coach of the Year, worst to first with the Giants. And Dennis Green is looking for his first playoff win with the Minnesota Vikings. He is 0-4 in the playoffs, but he has Robert Smith this year. The New York Giants won the toss. They'll get the football. Mitch Berger set to kick it away, and deep to receive. Tiki Barber in front of a sellout crowd. And we are underway. Squib kick. Berger nearly missed it altogether. And the Giants will have the ball at the 38-yard line.
Mike, already you can see that you've got a team that comes from a dome, is used to having good footing. Watch when Berger plants that left foot of his. He plants, it slides, it slips, and he hits it actually with his shin.
It's an amazing start here. So the Giants will pick it up from their own 39-yard line. Single setback is Way. Callaway to the near side, Patton to the far. Charles Way on first down. Just tripped up as he got to the 43. Giant offense led by Danny Cannell. They are 7-2-1 since he took over as the starter at quarterback. Tiki Barber starts for the injured Tyrone Wheatley. Way the leading rusher. Callaway, Patton, and Cross the tight end. The offensive line, a very physical group. Oben, Bishop, Scott, Stone, and Gregg. Cannell to throw on second down, incomplete, and it looked like Callaway had his feet slip out from under him as he tried to make the cut. Injuries have changed Minnesota's defense up front. Colonnay, Ball, Williams, and John Randall, who won the NFL sack title. He's been a terror at end. The linebackers, Edwards, McDaniel, who moved from the outside, and Rudd, the rookie from Alabama. The secondary plays a lot of zone. Fuller and Washington at the corners. Gray and Griffith are the safeties. 3rd and 5. Amani Toomer in as the third wide receiver. Cannell with a short set. Callaway to the 45-yard line.
Mike, that time as Callaway went in motion, you didn't see the Giants, you didn't see the Vikings run with him. That meant very simply that it was zone, and Cannell was going to have the opportunity to drop back and throw. This is a good job of pass protecting again. This offensive line has done an outstanding job for Danny Cannell all year long.
Barber and Way out of the eye. Tiki Barber got a nice block at the corner and got to the 40. A couple of weeks ago, the Vikings ended up with 4 rookies in the starting lineup, the first time in franchise history. Stalin Colonnay, one of the defensive ends. They did it because of injuries. They had to get the players on the field who could actually play.
And actually now they do have a faster defense. Dennis Green told us the fastest defense that he's had on the field all year.
Barber following Way. No place to go this time, and Tiki Barber swarmed under. Griffith and McDaniel in on the stop. The timing of that play was messed up from the beginning.
That's what happens when you get a defensive lineman who can split a double team. Stalin Colonnay, number 99. Watch him come through. Left guard, left tackle, just gets inside. Now all of a sudden he knocks Charles Way off. There's no lead blocker, and Tiki Barber's on his own in the backfield.
Colonnay, the rookie out of Boston College. They said he came in very well coached, ready to play the position. 3rd and 11. Cannell changing the play. Here comes the blitz. And they got him back in Giant territory at the 46. Jason Fisk, number 72, the first man there, a loss of 9.
Minnesota comes out with a lot of pressure from their front 4. They bring the secondary guys, but here comes Randall on the outside. Now he just is in the area. Randall requires 2 people to block him. That means that there's going to be a lot of one-on-one for everybody else on the line of scrimmage, and that time Fisk took advantage of it.
Roman Oben blocking on Randall. He better pack a lunch. It might be a long day. Maynard to punt. The Vikings with the rush. Gone. Back at the 10, Palmer up the sideline and out of bounds outside the 20-yard line, forced out by Corey Widmer. 43-yard punt, a 14-yard return. Vikings ball when we come back.
Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. Circuit City, the choice for price, selection, and service. And Miller Lite, now official beer sponsor of the NFL.
0-0 at the Meadowlands NFC wildcard playoff game between Minnesota and the New York Giants. The Vikings got some really good news late this week. Everett Lindsey spent 3 nights in the practice facility rehabbing a sore ankle. He is their 3rd center this year. If he couldn't play, it would have been LaShun Daniels, the rookie out of Ohio State, the 4th center on the depth chart. Cunningham changing the play at the line. Play action. Cunningham with what he does best across the 30. Minnesota's offense has had Randall Cunningham at quarterback since Brad Johnson's injury in his 3 starts, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Robert Smith, the key to the ground game, his 1,266 yards, a new club record. Evans, the fullback, the great receivers Reed and Carter, and Glover, the tight end. Up front, a huge, talented line. Stussy and McDaniel, both Pro Bowl starters, along with Lindsey, Dixon, and Stringer. First down after 1 play for Minnesota. Smith straight up the middle. Into the arms of Robert Harris. The Giants defense has been the team's strength. Michael Strahan, a Pro Bowl starter, has been terrific. He starts along with Harris, Hamilton, and Halsey. Another Pro Bowl starter, Jesse Armstead, is at linebacker with Widmer and Miller, and a solid secondary, especially good at corner with Sparks and Sehorn, who led the club to 6 interceptions this year. Wooten and Garnes, the rookie, are the safeties. 2nd and 9, Michael Strahan with 14 sacks, 3rd in the NFC. Cunningham rips it over the middle and dropped at midfield. He had his tight end, Andrew Glover, and he couldn't hold it.
Mike, that was one of the things that Brian Bellick, the offensive coordinator, talked about. He said, when Randall goes back and sets, you better be ready for the football because it's coming in a hurry. He just does a real good job of putting this ball exactly where he wants to. Glover, who has been a bright spot for him all year, didn't quite come up with that catch. Brian Bellick, the offensive coordinator, done a terrific job having different quarterbacks, having had to deal with different ones, even getting into the playoffs.
Leroy Horde, number 44, checks in at running back for Minnesota. 4-man rush. Cunningham with a lot of time. Throws and it's incomplete. Armstead appeared to get a hand on it. Jesse Armstead, who's had a terrific year, broke Lawrence Taylor's tackle record with 134.
Mike, with Randall Cunningham in 3rd down and long situations, look for the Giants to put a spy. That means that somebody that's just going to hang out in the middle of the football field and try and mirror him. That time it was Jesse Armstead. All he did was focus on Cunningham's eyes and knock the ball down.
Mitch Berger, who averaged nearly 43 yards a kick, 5th in the conference, will punt to Amani Toomer. Toomer in the top 10 in the NFC in returning punts. Returnable kick, not a lot of height. Toomer trying to get outside, needed 1 more block, and he could have broken it. As it was, he returned 6 yards after a 44-yard punt. Jesse Armstead and the Giants defense doing its job after the first test. We'll be back in a moment. Performances against Washington and Tampa Bay, Danny Cannell was given an ultimatum by Jim Fossil. He said, get better or sit down. But his quarterback says he put him in a position to succeed.
It's not like he left me out there and said, here, you go figure out how you're going to win this game or how you're going to be a better quarterback. He took me aside and really spent a lot of time with me alone and showed me, you know, what it takes to be successful at this level.
You know, the other thing, too, Mike, is what Jim Fossil has done is he has seen Danny Cannell grow a lot. A lot of times, coach will give quarterbacks game plans. Now Danny has real input into what he likes, what's in the game plan.
Barber and away. The Giants' second possession. Cannell to throw on first down. And throws short of Callaway. Getting pressure from behind from John Randall. Who else?
And Ed McDaniel, too, came on a late blitz up the middle. Didn't really allow Cannell to step into the throw, even though he had the receiver open. Danny Cannell, you know, when he lines up, Mike, he just expects to win. He's won at every level, and when he lines up on the football field, he has an expectation that permeates onto the other players.
He is very poised and composed for a young quarterback. Patton catches the short one out at the 35. Drilled by Dwayne Washington. 7-2-1 as a starter. You have to go all the way back to Yelberton Abraham Tittle in 1961 to find a Giants record any better than that for a first-year quarterback. He has half the career Y.A. Tittle did. They'll be thrilled here in New York. 3rd and 3. The Giants have been horrid in this situation. Cannell in the flat. Barber did his job, made the first man miss, got right to the sticks.
Oh, what a big hit, though. And it looked like Tiki Barber was going to have it easy, and the Vikings support, he just manages on second effort to make it. Now, when he gets out into the flat as he turns up, okay, he makes Washington miss. Now it looks like he's going to have it, but then Fuller comes up, knocks him almost back, but he manages just barely to make the first down.
Back to the ground game, and that's the favorite thing the Giants do. Charles Way to the 40-yard line. An all-Virginia backfield with Barber, the rookie, and Way, the 3-year man. Barber at the sideline may be in a little bit of discomfort, and Rodney Hampton, the reason for the cheer, number 27, the all-time ground gainer for the Giants, has checked into the lineup. They waited all year for him to come back from that knee injury. Callaway on the flanker screen, and he'll get it out to about the 47.
Mike, that's just good recognition by Danny Cannell. When they lined up in the slot, the Vikings didn't put anybody on Callaway. They went to the outside receiver, but not on Callaway. He just stands up, throws him the football, and lets him run 8 yards with it. It's going to be down here to the right side. You'll see Callaway run, nobody out on him. The linebackers were all inside, so he manages to pick up 9 yards.
Dwayne Washington had to cover 2 guys. 3rd and 2. Barber is back in. Cannell goes to the shotgun. Vikings blitz with a shovel pass to Barber. That's incomplete. Even though underhand, it's a pass. And the Giants will have to punt.
Giants trying to spread that Viking defense out, look for a little crease. I've never been a big fan of that particular play. I think it's very difficult to execute from a timing standpoint because you have to almost let a defensive man go free, field the ball cleanly, and then try and pitch it. And I think you're asking the quarterback to do a lot. High-risk play.
It's not the easiest thing to catch either.
No. It's because you do have your back to the line of scrimmage, so you don't know what's there.
Palmer waits just outside his 10 for Brad Maynard, the rookie from Ball State. 7:44 to go first quarter. No score from the Meadowlands. Another rush by the Vikings. Good protection, and Maynard hangs it high. And it just gets into the end zone. Good job by Palmer to throw a block, a 54-yard punt, but a net of only 34. The Vikings defense pinning the Giants back. Meadowlands. Dennis Green, 5 times in 6 years he's made the playoffs. Joe, what's amazing about it, he's done it with 5 different starting quarterbacks.
There they are. 92, Sean Salisbury, the McMahon 93, Warren Moon 94, Brad Johnson last year. Brad got hurt 4 games ago. Now Randall Cunningham is bringing him in against the Giants. I mean, that's a real credit, too, I think, to Brian Billick and the offense to be able to have an offensive coordinator who sets up a system for an individual and then all of a sudden has to change. The good thing is that Bellick had both Johnson and Cunningham, who are both athletic.
Brad Johnson was 4th in the NFC in his quarterback rating this year. He was having a tremendous season. Loose ball. The Giants have it. Bernard Holsey with the recovery, and they never got that handoff away.
And Mike, that was one of the things when we visited with the Giants yesterday, or the Vikings yesterday, said we cannot turn the ball over. We can't make mistakes. The defense does it again. Randall Cunningham has got to protect the ball. As Charles Evans, number 29, comes through, you see him hit it right on his hip. I always believe that it is the quarterback's responsibility to protect the ball. That time he has it out just a little bit too far, and Charles Evans hits it, and it's on the ground.
The Giants have feasted off of turnovers. Hampton, the tailback. Cannell, pump fake. Into the end zone, and if he'd thrown it sooner or a little longer, Patton was wide open.
That's a case of trying to make too perfect a throw. Danny Cannell goes through a pump, and then all he has to do is pump and let it go. What he does is he pumps, he waits, and then he throws it. You'll see the fake, the pump. Now he's got to get it up right now. Don't reset. And it gives the defense an opportunity to recover.
Washington beaten by 2 steps, got back to knock it away. Hampton straight up the middle and runs right into the strong safety, Robert Griffith.
Very important for Minnesota on defense to hold the Giants to at least just a field goal attempt. If they can do that, they will have accomplished what they're out on the field to do.
And as we already saw in the opening kickoff, the kicking game, not the easiest thing. Coach Fazio, the Minnesota defensive coordinator. Roman Oben, the left tackle, flinched, and that will cost the Giants 5. Oben out of Louisville in his 2nd year.
False start by the offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty, it's still 3rd down.
Mike, this is where having veterans in a playoff situation helps an awful lot. Danny Cannell's just got to settle down his offense. Jim Fossil has to give them a play that they can execute, get off in rhythm, don't hold the offensive line at the line of scrimmage a long time.
3rd and long is not where the Giants want to be. Dead last in the NFL, 18%. Play action by Cannell, over the middle, Barber can't hold it. Tiki Barber just a little low and behind him, he couldn't make the catch.
Mike, in this series, Danny Cannell has tried to make the perfect throw twice, and he's been a little too cautious. Barber swings out of the backfield, little play action fake, good move in and out on the linebacker, he's just wide open. All he has to do is lead him to the middle a little bit. It's coming right at you, right down the middle of the field. He's just trying to make too perfect a pass.
So Daloiso will have to try the field goal. It will be from 43 yards. His percentage inside 40 is brilliant. Outside, not so much. But this one is right down the middle. The New York Giants convert the fumble into 3 points on a 43-yard field goal from Brad Daloiso and have the lead here in the playoffs, 3-0 over the Vikings. Giants, 6:35 to go, 1st quarter from the Meadowlands. They convert the turnover into 3 points. That's what they have done better than anybody in the NFL this year, with a league-leading turnover number. And in the playoffs, if you turn the ball over in the playoffs, Joe, you are dead meat.
It really, Mike, I mean, these numbers are so drastic as compared to the regular season. You know, 3 times, 88% of the time, you know, you win if you can take it away. If you turn over 3 times, you only win 10% of the time.
And just 1 turnover, you win 73.2%. Daloiso will kick it away, and David Palmer waits at the goal line. Daloiso, good high kick. Palmer a yard deep. Has a seam up the middle. Palmer to midfield. A 51-yard kickoff return by David Palmer, the 4-year man out of Alabama. The AFC wildcard game coming up next from Mile High Stadium in Denver. Join Al, Frank, and Dan, the Broncos and the Jaguars in a rematch of last year's playoff classic.
Mike, I think it's important that Minnesota get Chris Carter involved. They cannot have their big guns outside, Jake Reed and Chris Carter, not get involved in the game. This is a good chance to take a shot.
Seahorn is on Carter. He's the man in motion. Giants show blitz, and Cunningham fumbles the snap from center. The Giants have it.
Mike, we talked about Everett Lindsey coming in as a center. He was really laid up all week long, hadn't had a chance to work. Now with the weather conditions, the ball a little bit slippery, Randall Cunningham doesn't get this one clean. Comes out, and the Giants react to it. The ball's up in his hands, it just doesn't get away.
Cunningham has botched 2 center snaps on consecutive plays. And the Giants are back in business in Minnesota territory. Hampton outside. Great job of following the block by Way to the 40. The visiting teams in the playoffs have lost 41 straight games with a negative turnover margin. Right now, they're -2.
But the average margin of the loss is 18 points. That's how critical it is to protect the football.
2nd and 3, New York. Way trying to pick his way for yardage. Got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a little more.
Mike, the Giants have to capitalize on the opportunity that their defense has given them. The defense has given them excellent field position. They just can't come away punting it here or just try for field goals. They need to get some points on the board and really cause Minnesota to change their game plan.
Well, you know, the defense will get the credit, but the defense really didn't do anything on those 2 turnovers. Cunningham just handed it to them. 3rd, call it 3. Cannell in the flat to Way. 1st down and more. Charles Way pulls his way inside the 15. Nice block from Callaway and a gain of 27.
Charles Way has caught 37 passes coming into this playoff game, so you know he's an integral part of what they do on offense. But again, protection is the key. Roman Oben on John Randall. Staying right square with him, not really giving him a chance to go. Cannell gets the ball out quick. Wade turns it up. When this guy gets going with his shoulders pointed up the field, he is a load.
What a block by Callaway. Cut down Corey Fuller. Hampton and Lane are the best. Hampton. Rodney Hampton to the 6. Joe, the emotion right now all for the New York Giants.
Well, the thing is, Mike, if John Randall is such an aggressive pass rusher and a smallish guy, Roman Oben this time decides to use his speed against him. You want to come up the field? I'll help you. We'll let Hampton go up inside. Now he just lowers the shoulder and picks up a few extra yards.
Hampton, 3 carries, 16 yards so far. Spotted at the 5. 2nd and long 2. Hampton. Excuse me, the fullback, Eric Lane. Lane with only 5 carries all year. Griffith in on the stop.
Mike, something that the Giants do on offense, they love to get in and out of the huddle quick. You'll see them get to the line of scrimmage on the, like they did on that particular play and go with quick counts. Jim Fossil is constantly talking about tempo, speed it up, let's go. He wants to keep the defense on their heels.
The Giants have been very efficient in this situation. 4th in the NFL in the red zone. Barber on the sweep. Tiki Barber cut down at the 5. Very difficult to run wide against the Vikings. They are very, very fast.
And a very good job by Dwayne Rudd. He filled the lane where Tiki wanted to turn in. Number 57 shows his face and forces him to go wide.
So they will have to settle for another field goal try. And the Viking defense has to be very proud that they have survived these 2 turnovers. Deloiso nearly automatic inside 40. This one from 22 is already hit one from 43.
Gone.
Rodney Hampton giving the New York Giants offense a boost. They're up 6-0 on Minnesota.
Thank you, Mike. You know, to be successful against that Viking defense, you must block John Randle. And so far, the Giants are doing a good job. They're using Charles Way to chip on him before he goes out. John Randle's a playmaker from the defensive end position. You'll see the swim move, the rip move, and there's Charles Way right there to negate the upfield rush. What you have to do is double team. Here he doesn't get the double team. Now you see right here the rip move. The rip move right under Oben, the quick pressure on Cannell. And what he does is puts quick pressure on the quarterback, but what you have to do is keep someone in there to help him out. And here you see the numbers. He's been double teamed 9 of 21 plays. Almost half the time, Randle has been double teamed. The tight end to his side is another way to negate that outside rush. He's the kind of guy that can make plays in that defensive end position, Mike.
Jaws, if I'm a quarterback, I want to see him double 21 of 21 times, not just 9.
Especially the left side, because you don't know when he's coming.
Wearing the war paint. There's Mo Williams. He is deep with David Palmer. Shorter kick this time, Palmer from the 7. Tries to get outside, cut down at the 22. Tonight on ABC, George Burns, John Denver, and Terry Garr star in the Divine Comedy Oh God at 8, 7 Central, followed by Dylan McDermott in The Practice, all tonight on ABC. Oh God, one of my favorite movies. It's just wonderful.
Mike, one of the most important things on this particular play is going to be Randall Cunningham taking a good snap and making a good handoff. He's got to get some confidence back.
They have botched 2 in a row. Both led to field goals. Time of possession remarkable so far for the Giants. Cunningham to throw on first down underneath. Carter touches the ball for the first time out to the 30. Joe, with 2:01 to go in the first quarter, the first time Chris Carter's had his hands on it.
Well, it's the first time they've actually even tried to get the ball to him. I believe that if you're the Minnesota offense, you've got to get the ball to your 2 big outside guys. There comes the snap from center. That one's clean. He gets it back, looks to the left, does a good job of coming back to the right side where Carter was.
2nd and 2. Smith, great speed, goes to the outside, has a first down at the 35. Smith with a club record 1,266 yards this year. And most people think he should have gone to the Pro Bowl. The Vikings have not had a Pro Bowl running back since Chuck Foreman in 1977.
And you consider last week against the Colts, touches the ball 17 times, runs it for 160 yards. The Vikings will be as successful as Robert Smith is carrying the football.
He's gained 300 yards in the last 3 weeks. Smith again. Tito Wooten up from safety, grabbed a hold and wouldn't let go.
Mike, if you can't get any movement in the middle of the offensive line, the center and the 2 guards, there's nowhere to go if you're a running back. There you see that defense of the Giants. They just stop him up and force Robert Smith out to the perimeter where the safeties and linebackers are filling holes.
Wooten 2nd in tackles this year with 89. And Joe, they're running behind Pro Bowl starters Stussy and McDaniel and got nothing out of it. Cunningham under pressure and throws it away. They know he's going to roll a lot. That's one of his favorite plays. There is a flag down, then they'll call intentional grounding against Cunningham.
That's Jason Sehorn coming off the corner. Jason Sehorn is developed into a complete football player.
Intentional grounding by the quarterback, number 7 offense. It's a 10-yard penalty and a loss of down. Ends up 3rd down.
He does an excellent job of covering people, is a good tackler, and here he comes off the corner. He's on the slot man. Now, they know Randall Cunningham's going to move. Now, they call this intentional grounding. I don't agree with this at all. He's trying to make a throw, and he gets hit in the meantime. I mean, that's just a quarterback trying to make a throw. You have to understand, Randall Cunningham is one of those athletic-type quarterbacks. He can throw the ball like that. tough break for the Vikings there.
3rd and 19. They'll go with 3 wide receivers. Chris Walsh, number 81, is in. Pressure on Cunningham. The screen to Horde. Poorly thrown. Incomplete. Pushing and shoving after the play. And the referees break it up. The Giants are stoked.
Mike, having played in this stadium, I can tell you that when they start screaming and yelling in this stadium, it is as loud as any dome stadium I've played in. Makes it hard to communicate, period.
Mitch Berger set to punt. Amani Toomer waits back at his 30. The Vikings look rattled, especially their quarterback, Randall Cunningham. Short. And it takes a New York bounce. Down by the Vikings at the 44. A punt of only 29 yards. Excellent field position again for the New York Giants. And a horrid start for Randall Cunningham. Only 1 for 5. He has fumbled twice and had an intentional grounding call.
Mike, but put this in perspective. As bad as the Vikings have played almost through this entire first quarter, they're one big play from being right back in this football game. If the Giants are going to take advantage of these opportunities, they're going to have to do it. You can't just leave the Vikings in it all day.
This feels like a critical possession for New York. If they can get anything out of this one, the Vikings are in a lot of trouble. Barber picks his way for about 4 to his own 48-yard line. Giants defense has certainly done its job so far on an emotional high. That's the end of the first quarter. Our score, the Giants 6, the Vikings nothing. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Mercury. Go ahead. Imagine yourself in a Mercury. Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. And the Home Depot, America's home improvement coach.
The Vikings right now being trampled by the New York Giants. It's only 6-0, but it has been all Big Blue. Way. Griffith got him around the knees, wouldn't let go. Way gets to midfield. The first quarter numbers not pretty for the Minnesota Vikings. Offensively, they have been able to do virtually nothing. 27 total yards and 2 big turnovers. The time of possession, 11:03 to 3:57.
But you have to say a lot about that Viking defense, Mike. Only 3 first downs by the Giants.
They've done a marvelous job having been put in a terrible position since the game started. Cannell out of the shotgun. Double clutches, throws. Barber breaks 2 tackles. Tiki Barber to the 40-yard line. Finally dumped by Fuller and Moore pushing and shoving.
Mike, one of the things Dennis Green talked about was trying to make Danny Cannell uncomfortable early in this football game. They've not been able to do that. Roman Oben continuing to do a good job on John Randall and getting help from Charles Way. Now you have Scott Gregg on the other side on Dwayne Clemens. Double teaming the ends. And the center and the 2 guards giving Cannell an opportunity to step up into the pocket.
6 of 11, 66 yards for Cannell. Hampton is in at running back. Tyrone Wheatley, who we would normally see inactive today, he's been injured. Cannell airs it out for Patton at the 5.
Again, Mike, the quick post and up. A little double move. That time he got it up a lot quicker and put it out and let Patton run to it. Dwayne Washington, number 20. You see in the lower left part of your screen. Patton, little stop and go. Remember, the footing is a little slick. So when Washington stops, Patton has a chance to go by him. Now you see how much quicker he gets this up than the last pump and go.
Nice job by Patton, altering his body to get the football. First and goal, Hampton straight ahead. whacked at the 1. Jerry Ball, all 320 pounds plus, made the stop. Even though the New York Giants went through the NFC East undefeated, the first time anybody's ever done that, they win the division. They're 10-5-1. They don't have a lot of respect around the United States. And pretty soon people are going to say, you know, this is a pretty good football team.
Exactly. You know, you wonder who was going to be a Carolina or a Jacksonville like they were last year. The Giants could be that Cinderella football team.
Hampton. Nothing there as the defense for Minnesota stiffens.
See, Mike, now, I think that Jim Fossil, as the coordinator, has the advantage now on 3rd and short. Minnesota can't just tee off and try and stop the run because they have to respect the play-action pass down here. I think this is a very good calling situation for an offensive coordinator. And Coach Fazio got to guess a little. Which way is Fossil going to go?
Ball spotted at the 2. It is 3rd and goal. Giants already up 6-0. Tight formation. Cannell play action. Over the middle. Touchdown caught by Aaron Pierce.
That's a perfect scenario, Mike. You run the little play action. You run it a couple times. You've got 2 tight ends obviously in because it's a goal line formation. The play action is to that side, so the linebacker flows. Now Pierce just has to find an open spot in the middle. And that's a terrific catch. That is not an easy ball to catch.
Aaron Pierce caught only 10 during the regular season. Gets the big touchdown here. And the New York Giants, a team that has only averaged 19 points a game, now has 13 with 11:33 to go in the first half. Danny Cannell with a touchdown strike. Giants up 13-0. Nothing over the Vikings. Danny Cannell with a touchdown pass, but they may have gotten a break on this. You call it. Did Aaron Pierce catch the ball or did it hit the ground?
Well, he makes an excellent catch turning back, but watch what the ball does. There's the ball. There it is on the ground. See it bounce up? Personally, I think it would have been overruled if there would have been a review factor. But it's a tough call to make right away by the official in the back of the end zone. Pierce does a nice job of convincing the official he has total possession of it.
The Vikings have to get something going on offense. 2 early turnovers that led to field goal. Vikings return from the 5 with Mo Williams. And he's cut down shy of the 20. Monday night at 8 o'clock, 7 Central, the network premiere of the movie about the event that changed television forever. Ray Fiennes, Mira Sorvino, and John Turturro star in Quiz Show. Directed by Robert Redford, nominated for 4 Academy Awards. That's Monday at 8 o'clock, 7 Central on ABC.
Mike, the Vikings have got to show up on offense right now. They can't wait any longer to make some plays.
Randall Cunningham, 1 for 5, 8 yards, 2 fumbles. Sideline for Carter, and he dropped it at the 42. Cunningham waited, and waited, finally found Carter. And if your VCR is rolling, keep that one.
Good job by that offensive line, giving Randall an opportunity to make some plays. Chris Carter gets away from Jason Sehorn. The ball's right there. Carter just can't hang on to it. The Vikings can ill afford people not making plays. We saw Andrew Glover in the first series put the ball on the ground. Now Chris Carter puts it on the ground. When your quarterback is struggling, somebody's got to make a play to help his confidence out.
2nd and 10. Carter in the slot, Reed the wideout. Comes the blitz. Cunningham dropped again at the 29. Carter got his hands on it, couldn't hold it. He and Reed were almost standing shoulder to shoulder.
That time, Jesse Armstead, number 98, just puts the pressure on Randall Cunningham. You see the back try and step up to take him on. Robert Smith will give you an effort, but he just gets overpowered. And there's the catch that Carter almost makes, just snuck away from him.
3rd and 10. The crowd on its feet for this Giants defense that's gotten better all year long. 4-man rush. Cunningham to the sideline. Reed up at the 31-yard line. Felipe Sparks on the coverage, but it's enough for a first down.
That is a big-time throw right there, Mike. You've got this crowd of 78,000 plus screaming and yelling. You've put 2 balls where they belong. The guys have put them on the ground. Now you come back and keep firing. Randall Cunningham just showed an awful lot right here. Jake Reed with a nice reception for the first down.
Reed had his 4th straight 1,000-yard season this year. Minnesota now with 18 yards passing in the first half, counting that 11-yard gain. Smith takes it out near the 35-yard line and being woofed at a little bit by Corey Miller.
Mike, Everett Lindsey, the center's only been there for 3 games. He's on a bad ankle. So what you do is you put Robert Harris, you take the big guy and you just put him on his nose. Here's Harris and there's Lindsey. He's just going to take and drive him right back in. Just keep working him and working him. If you can push the center back into the lap of the running back, it gives them a limited area to operate in.
2nd and 7. Cunningham under pressure, and he's sacked by Hamilton. Keith Hamilton has really come on this year with 8 sacks during the regular season.
Mike, when you have no place to go with the football, you have to hold it a little bit longer. Jason Sehorn matched up on Chris Carter, and this looks like what John Fox wants to do today. He wants to put the big guy on it. Felipe Sparks over on DeLong. Then all of a sudden, when there's no place to go with the football, you're asking your offensive lineman to block forever. Randall McDaniel can't keep Hamilton out.
3rd and 14. Cunningham rolls. Throws back across the middle, complete but short of a first down. Up at the 38-yard line, they'll have to punt it away. Jake Reed makes the catch, but the Giants defense does its job again.
Also, Mike, for the Minnesota Vikings, if there is a little flicker of hope, what it's going to be is that there's an opportunity now to punt the Giants back and maybe play a little bit of the field possession game.
Well, there goes some of your hope as Jake Reed has to be helped off the field. Looked like an ankle. And this is really a 2 wide receiver team with Carter and Reed. Toomer waits for the punt from Mitch Berger at his 17. Not a particularly good kick. Toomer lets it bounce back to the 20, and he's buried. Good hustle on special teams by Mo Williams. A loss of 2 on the return after a punt of 40. Denny Green and his Vikings down by 13. To go first half, the Giants on top of the Vikings 13-0, and the Home Depot coaches fact, the most playoff losses without a win. Dennis Green tied for the lead, if you will, with Jim Mora, Buddy Ryan, and Allie Sherman of the Giants. Both lost 3 in 3 tries. It's a record Dennis Green doesn't want to own all by himself.
I was just going to say, there's got to be a better way to put that. You don't want to own that kind of lead. I think he's done a terrific job with this football team. His players care an awful lot about him. They respect him. And in talking to him, they think he's one of the finest motivators that they've ever seen.
All that said, this still may be his last year in Minnesota. Way and Barber are the backs. Kiki Barber runs very, very hard for a kid who's 205 pounds. Stalin Kalanick makes the tackle. 2nd-round draft choice out of the University of Virginia. That 511 yards he gained this year, number 3 among rookies.
And the Giants present different types of backs. Rodney Hampton is a pounder who will follow Charles Way. Tiki Barber, he'll give you a little bit of a shake and has the speed to take it outside. Way, of course, is a big pounder who can just take it by himself up the middle.
Jake Reed being carted off to the locker room. We're going to report on him as soon as we can. Cannell against the blitz, throws to Barber in the flat, and Colonnay with a nice job gets out there in coverage and just drills it. Reed came off on the previous possession limping on that left ankle.
A lot of times offensive receivers can recognize when and when they should not get the ball. Barber, he sees Colonnay coming. He does not expect Cannell to throw it to him, and consequently he doesn't really make much of a play on it.
3rd and 5 for New York. 7:56 to go first half. Good protection for Danny Cannell, and it's dropped. Callaway had a shot at it near the 40 and couldn't hold it. The receivers aren't helping quarterbacks on either side a whole lot so far.
No, but they're both hanging in the pocket well, and the reason why Cannell is able to do that is Roman Oben continues to do a good job on John Randall. If he's not blocking him himself, he's forcing him down the line, and it just takes John a little bit longer to get the penetration.
Maynard on to punt to Palmer. Twister, Palmer all the way back to the 28. Dangerous return man. Gets that one back for 11 yards after a 48-yard punt. 7:37 to go first half. All Big Blue. 13-0. Giants on top, 13-0. Jake Reed with a sprained ankle. Here's how it happened. He got it caught under him and then turned over. He has been taken to the Minnesota locker room. Walsh is in at his position. Smith as they go to the ground game, and there's the rookie, Sam Garnes. Boy, the Giants have just looked wonderful on defense.
Anytime the Vikings have tried to hit the perimeter outside the tackles and the tight ends, the safeties have been up making plays, or the corners. We saw Jason Sehorn. Watch the left part of your screen now. Sam Garnes will show right away. He's hanging up around the line of scrimmage. The Giants are basically challenging the Minnesota Vikings to throw the football. They've got 8 people in the box. They're saying, hey, look, on 1st and 10, we're going to make you throw.
The last 3 games, the Vikings have been the best in the NFL on the ground. Today, 17 yards. Cunningham with that slow motion misses his tight end, Greg DeLong, who was open at the sideline.
You know, Mike, as a quarterback, you throw the ball into people's hands and they're not catching it. It becomes deflating to you. Now all of a sudden what you start to do is you say, well, geez, I'll try and throw it just a little more perfect, and it really affects your performance. Randall can't let that happen. He's just got to keep throwing. The Vikings are no way out of this thing yet.
3rd and 15. Horde and Palmer are the backs. Palmer goes to the slot. Cunningham steps up and goes long for Carter. Sehorn picks it up. Jason Sehorn. He's got tremendous speed. Midfield and more. A 36-yard return of the interception. The 3rd turnover for Cunningham.
And, Mike, why do you match a Jason Sehorn on a Chris Carter in this game? Great move by John Fox. But watch the timing of his jump. Defensive coaches are always stressing, go to the highest point and go get the ball. There is a classic example. That is textbook defensive play right there.
In basketball terms, Jason Sehorn has some serious hops.
I could never jump that high. I wouldn't know.
Cannell on a little roll, throws out in the flat. Callaway forced out of bounds by Fuller. Right in front of the Giant bench, and they didn't like the way their man was taken down. The Giants defense led the league in interceptions, 27 picks. They led the league in total takeaways and in turnover margin. And I don't think you can say enough about the job John Fox has done with this defense. He has been absolutely brilliant.
I think if Jim Fossil is Coach of the Year, John Fox deserves Assistant Coach of the Year honors because he has really turned this ball club into an aggressive, turnover-producing unit.
2nd and 6. Barber breaks the tackle. Stiff arm and first down. He just threw Dwayne Washington on the ground with that stiff arm.
Mike, the Giants on the offensive side of the ball are now playing with that same kind of attitude that the defense is. It's in your face, you can't stop me. Good job by Charles Way, as usual, just creating a hole. Big explosion on Rudd. Now watch this, good switch of the ball. Slide it over, stiff arm, get out of my way.
Jim Fossil says he wouldn't trade Charles Way for any fullback in the NFL. You can see why, the way he blocks, intended for Patton, but too low. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, Ron Jaworski, Leslie Visser, we're all here at the Meadowlands. And the Giants are roughing up the Minnesota Vikings. 78,000 strong, and they are loving every second of it. Barber, another great block by Way. Griffith can't bring him down, has to drag him out of bounds.
Michael, that was just a case of wonderful patience by Tiki Barber. A lot of young backs have a tendency to want to run outside real quick. What Tiki does is he just gets the ball in his hands, waits for Stone and Cross, the two guys up front. Stone, there goes Stone, the left guard, and you see Cross seal the corner. Now he just waits, patiently goes outside the block, makes it a positive yardage play.
This Viking defense is predicated on speed. They're not the kind of team that stands up well with just being pounded on, and that's what the Giants are doing right now. Here comes the blitz. Cannell in trouble. Throws it away, had a receiver out in the vicinity. Jason Fisk, who had a sack earlier with the pressure.
And a real good job by Danny Cannell of knowing where the tackle box is to get himself out of it so that when he makes the throw, he's not going to get nailed with an intentional grounding call that would take away the field goal opportunity. He's not only playing well with his arm, but he's playing very well with his head right now.
D'Aloiso has already hit from 22 and 43. This one will be from 41 yards. Out of Brad Maynard's hole.
Gone.
D'Aloiso true again. And the trouble deepens for the Minnesota Vikings. 4:54 to go in the half. They're now down by 16.
This is Imagine TV.
New Year's Day bowl lineup starting at 1 Eastern Thursday. The CompUSA Citrus Bowl. Penn State against Florida. Then at 4:30, the Rose Bowl. #1 Michigan takes on Pac-10 champ Washington State. At 8:30, the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Ohio State and Florida State. 16-0 here in the NFC wildcard playoff game from the Meadowlands. D'Aloiso has been a busy fellow here in the first half. D'Aloiso falls down on the kick, and it turns out to be a little squib, and Minnesota will have it up at the 38. So Berger fell down starting the game. D'Aloiso falls down on this one. Joe, that's tough when the footing isn't good enough to kick off.
Well, it's tough on everybody. I mean, the kicker can't plant that left foot. That's his plant foot. Watch when he comes forward. The left foot, it's just gone. I mean, it just slides. If you get up on that on the side of it just a little bit, you wind up like D'Aloiso did on the ground.
Same side of the field as when Berger fell down. Smith is the running back, and he's stuffed in the backfield. The Giants doing a tremendous job. Hamilton, Armstead, and everyone else.
Mike, what's most impressive about this Giant defense is they really get it done with usually the 4 guys up front that John Fox likes to send, and then he adds just Jesse Armstead. So really, he's only bringing 5, That allows him to double cover the wide receivers and go one-on-one with the tight end. So he's got both ends of the offense covered.
Jake Reed back in the ball game. Good news from Minnesota. Here comes the blitz. Cunningham in the flat to DeLong, and DeLong knocked down at the 38-yard line. Michael Strahan dropped off from his defensive end spot and made the tackle. The Giants on defense, Joe, look like they are throwing so many different looks at Minnesota, and all at the right time. 3rd and 10. Another blitz. Cunningham just throws that one out of bounds.
Well, what a terrific job this secondary is doing. The reason why they didn't call interference is because they considered the ball uncatchable, but there's Jason Sehorn on Chris Carter right in his back pocket. Felipe Sparks all over Jake Reed. As Randall Cunningham tries to step up, Felipe makes some contact, but the ball was considered uncatchable.
The Minnesota Vikings have run 23 plays in the half. They have 41 yards. Berger with a pretty punt this time. Toomer back to the 19. Fumble. And the Vikings have it at the 27-yard line. Dwayne Butler with the recovery as Amani Toomer had it knocked loose. And the hit from Chris Walsh.
Amani Toomer is the type of a punt returner that really will not fair catch. He'll take a chance and go with it, but he's got to protect the ball. See how the ball's getting away from him a little bit? And then all of a sudden, it slides out from behind as Chris Walsh hits him. Ron George, as he goes by, just grabs it and pulls it out.
The first Giants turnover, and the Vikings have to take advantage. Cunningham to throw. Carter inside the 10. Sehorn got turned around. Armstead made the tackle, but it's a gain of 18 yards.
Randall Cunningham, we talked about the strength of his arm. He is going to force the ball to Chris Carter. He doesn't care about percentages. If Jason Sehorn is not looking back, he'll throw it and allow Chris Carter to go up and make a play. And that's exactly what he does on this one.
1st and goal, Vikings from the 7 out of the eye. Smith, the deep man. Smith behind Evans. Tries to cut it outside. He'll lose 2. Garnes, the safety, up again. Widmer, the linebacker. Well, they can't run inside. They can't run outside.
And I don't think they're going to be able to run down here, Mike. I think that the best chance that the Vikings have of getting points on the board with a touchdown is going to be trying to get the ball to Jake Reed and Chris Carter. Go through the matchups. Put it out there one-on-one. Let the big guys make a big play.
Cunningham will wait for the 2-minute warning. He wants to go to the sideline and talk it over in what looks like a critical possession for the Minnesota Vikings, down by 16 here in the Meadowlands. We'll be back in a moment. Boomer Show. Chris Berman, Boomer Esiason, the Toyota halftime report. First half analysis as well as a preview of the AFC wildcard. Jacksonville against Denver, and Mike Holmgren of the Packers live. Here's the situation with a 16-0 lead. 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line for the Vikings. What do you like down here?
I like Randall Cunningham on the move. Maybe you run a little play-action pass and try and get him to the perimeter of John Fox's defense. You put Chris Carter away. You work him back to the middle. But I think you've got to let Randall Cunningham handle the ball and move with it.
Carter to the far side. Cunningham intended for Carter, knocked away by Sehorn. What a play.
This time they run the play-action pass. They try and run a little pick play on Jason Sehorn. DeLong comes out. They try and run the pick. It doesn't work. Sehorn does a great job of timing it just as he comes in. Good timing on the ball for the pass defense.
Absolutely brilliant defense.
Again, Mike, I think you got to give Randall Cunningham the option to be an athlete here.
Instead, he goes straight back. Strong arms it to the end zone. Incomplete. It was intended for Walsh. Broken up by Felipe Sparks, who really laid the lumber to him.
And that is a play that Chris Walsh should have made. You know, Randall Cunningham has not had his receivers make plays for him. This is a good call. Strahan comes up hard on him. Cunningham just hangs in the pocket. You see Walsh, he's the outside guy, number 81. He's coming off of Reed's tail. He comes inside, he sits in the hole. He's got to make that play. He's got to make that play for his quarterback. That was not a tough catch at all.
They will settle for the field goal. Eddie Murray knocks it through. The oldest player in the NFL gets the Vikings on the board after the turnover. And it's 16-3 with 1:47 to go in the half.
Jim Fossil's got to feel like his defense did the job that they had to. The ball was turned over so deep. Hold them to 3 if you can.
Monday Night Football live on the web. Get in-depth coverage of today's NFL playoff games at abcmnf.com. Of course, this game here in the Meadowlands, then we'll be going out to Denver for Al, Frank, and Don.
A rematch out there, Denver and Jacksonville. Jaguars sort of just, you know, quietly putting together a much better record than they had a year ago. Denver Broncos have to feel great about coming back home after being on the road and having the struggles that they've had.
And getting Terrell Davis back in the lineup. Amani Toomer did not fumble one during the regular season, but he dropped this one on the way back. The team as a whole did not have a fumble. And this kick will go out of bounds. You wonder what else can go wrong for the Minnesota Vikings. Berger fell down on one earlier.
Well, you start directional kicking a little bit, Mike. You want to kick it to one corner. You come over the top a little bit. It's like hooking that 4-iron. It's way left instead of a little bit left of where it should be.
So the Giants get great field position out at their 40, and Danny Cannell, who's been very efficient in the first half, comes on.
And I think this changes what Fossil wants to do on offense, simply because now he can take some chances to get in the field goal range.
They have all 3 timeouts left. Way is the single setback. And he'll get the carry. Charles Way turns the corner. He'll pick up 5. Corey Fuller makes the tackle. Way at 247 pounds. Very adept at getting outside.
I always felt that this was the most fun I had as a quarterback in the game. When you got to the 2 minutes, you were in more control of what you wanted to do. Randall Cunningham's been doing a good job, Mike. The guys just aren't holding on to the football. Other than the snaps, he's been okay.
Cannell with the blitz in his face, throws incomplete. They were trying to set up the screen to Barber, but Dwayne Rudd was all over Danny Cannell. That stops the clock with 1:11 to go in the half.
It's very important for this Giant offense to keep what they call convertible 3rd downs. That's 3rd down in 3, 4, or 5. They're in 3rd and 5. They feel like they can make it most of the time.
Cannell looking over the defense. From his own 45-yard line, he goes to the shotgun. Shovel pass. Barber. First down. 40 and out of bounds.
That's the one we talked about. You know what you have to have, though, to run a good shovel pass, Mike, is you have to have the cooperation of a defensive end that's going to come up the field like a John Randall. You're using his aggressiveness against him. He comes up the field. You see Roman open. He just pushes him back, and Tiki Barber just slides in right behind him on the shovel pass. Still think it's a tough one to execute.
Oben got to use his club move on that one. Way got a good block at the corner, keeps his balance, picks up nearly 10.
Not only does he pick up the yardage, Mike, but he manages to get out of bounds and stop the clock so the Giants don't have to use a timeout. Charles Way is built perfect for running on this particular type of turf. He keeps his feet underneath him. He doesn't have them out striding or out wide where he's making cuts. He's running basically on all the bottom of his foot.
6th round draft choice in '95 out of the University of Virginia. Aaron Pierce with a heck of a block. Actually got 2 guys on the last play. Barber swallowed up by Ed McDaniel. That time at the line of scrimmage as they try to get the first down. And now we'll use the timeout with 51 seconds to go. They'll have 2 left. Giants right now doing a very good job of using the clock. I think they want to make sure if they don't do anything, the Vikings don't get it back.
Exactly, and Jim Fossil's offense has done a very good job of efficiently attacking the Minnesota defense. Take advantage of John Randall's aggressiveness. Run underneath him. Don't try and go around him. You know he's coming up the field. And if you want to pass block, put Roman open there, and then stick Charles Way on the outside and let him chip a little bit. So what they're doing is they're negating the strength of the Viking defense and managing to stay within what we call, Mike, those convertible 3rd downs. And here they've got one by about 4 or 5 links of the chain to make.
Wellington Mara, the president and the co-CEO of the New York Giants, had to enjoy this year just about as much as any year he's been associated with the ball club. Most people picked this team to finish 4th or 5th in the NFC East. They got off to a 1-3 start, and people said, well, that settles it. They will finish last. And then they've gone 7-2-1 with Danny Cannell.
And Jim Fossil did, I think, a great thing. He presented to his football team, he said, we want to win in quarters. Every 4 games, we have to be 3-1. And they almost accomplished that. When they were 1-3 early, he just said, okay, fine, that quarter's over. Now we have to go 3-1 over the next 3 quarters. And he really segmented the season for them, which I think made it easier for a younger ball club to prepare.
I think it gave him intermediate goals, and I think young teams need that, something to shoot for. It's 3rd and a foot. Way. It's close. Collinet and Randall on the stop. Now the Giants will use another timeout.
Now, do you get a left-footed spot or a right-footed spot? That's always the question from the official.
Giants with 1 left on 34 seconds to go.
We always talk about defensive linemen trying to get leverage on an offensive lineman. Look at how low John Randall is. He manages to get down so low that the offensive lineman can't get to him. But the Charles Way manages to pick up just enough for the first down. Offensive game plan strategy right now, Mike. What I think Jim Fossil wants to do with Danny Cannell is he'll want to throw the ball a little bit here because he realizes he still has the 1 timeout. But you still want to try and put yourself in a situation to get the ball in the end zone. I think you're a little too far out at the 29-yard line to try and throw it down into the end zone twice or 3 times. You look for an intermediate pass route. You stress to your wide receivers or running backs. If you're near the sidelines, get out of bounds. If you do want a running play, you run it to the middle of the field, call the timeout, and then get yourself a few more shots. As far as Foch goes, I really think that he should take a chance and go after Danny Cannell. Playing in the zone, laying back, and letting the Giants dictate on offense won't get it done for him right here.
Apparently the Giants have 2 timeouts left. They were not charged with the first one for the measurement. They called one after the second measurement, actually before, and then were given the timeout after it. So they will have 2 opportunities to stop the clock and 34 seconds left. Cannell in the flat to Barber, and Barber looked up to see the seam he had and drop the football.
That one wasn't thrown with a lot of touch. That one came out with a lot of heat, though, too. Danny Cannell just wanted to get the ball in Tiki Barber's hands as quickly as he could and let him make a play with it.
.29 seconds to go in the half. The Giants already up 16-3, taking advantage of Minnesota first half turnovers. Cannell under pressure, wants to screen to Barber, and he couldn't hold this one.
That's a good job by the Viking defense, sniffing out the screen there. They've done a nice job of making it very hard for Cannell to dump the ball off someplace. A couple of good calls by Foge.
Corey Fuller was right in the middle of that screen. Now 24 seconds left. From here, it would be a 46-yard field goal attempt for Daloiso.
Now I think Jim Fossil's got to think, okay, let's get in position to try and kick the field goal. Before he was working for 6. Now he's got to just try and figure out a way to get close enough to get a good shot at 3.
Cannell under pressure. Throws behind Charles Way, who was wide open inside the 25.
Mike, that was a very inefficient series by the Giants on offense. On all 3 downs, they didn't really, first of all, they couldn't get a pass completed, but they got absolutely no positive yards to give Daloiso even a closer chance to put 3 on the board.
And now Minnesota will use the timeout with 19 seconds to go. Daloiso has already hit from 22, 41, and 43. This would be his career high. It would be his 4th just in the first half. The Toyota halftime report coming up momentarily. Chris Berman and Boomer Esiason, just some of the things that they'll be talking about.
Boomer of him and Boomer of you. Well, what a great job Boomer Esiason did, too. I mean, what a
been terrific.
What a sensational month. I mean, he gives all of us in the geriatric part of our life an inspiration. And he'll be back next year, I think, as the starter also.
Well, he says everybody in broadcasting says, why don't you play another 10 years? I said, I'm a play-by-play guy. I mean it. Flags go down. Vikings are applauding. And it looked like Ron Stone moved early.
False start by the offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty, it's still 4th down.
That is Ron Stone. This will make it 52.
And that's why it was so critical to try and pick up just a few more yards in that series that the Giants had. They were right at the edge as it was.
Daloiso's long kick this year is 52 yards. He has always been a very good long-range kicker.
And if there is any wind on the field, it will be at his back.
Career-high 4 field goals in the first half for Brad Daloiso. Officially, it's 51 yards. And officially, the scoreboard reads 19-3.
This is a good job by the holder. This is just a terrific job. But watch this thing. It caroms off the inside. If you're going to play it to the inside and let it kick on in.
Brad Daloiso knew it was close, got the kiss.
Little body English. Good job by Brad Maynard, too.
And Larry McDuff, the special teams coach, you got to be happy when your kicker knocks through 4 field goals in the first half, especially in the playoffs, because it's the first time it's ever happened in the NFC.
Right now, the Vikings on offense are going to have a chance to go in and talk about the first half and say, hey, look, if we can hold on to the ball, we can make up some yards here.
Ball's loose. And the Vikings cover it with 9 seconds to go. Greg DeLong had trouble finding the handle.
Mike, I'll tell you, on that last field, I really think that holding is an art form unto itself. I just want to show you the good job that Brad Maynard did. This ball is high and inside. It's high up there. He gets it down, turns the laces just enough. The laces act as a rudder for the ball. Gets it down perfectly so that DeLuiso can get it through. Good job by a rookie. Third-round draft pick.
9 seconds to go in the half. Smith. Step through the hole, gets it up to about the 35-yard line. And the Vikings will go to the locker room without throwing the football. That's the end of the first half. The score, 19-3. Now let's join Chris Berman in our New York studios.
All right, Michael, thank you. Coming up on our Toyota halftime report, Boomer Esiason joins me for first half analysis. A preview from Denver with Al Michaels, and we'll visit live with the coach of the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers, a man that can smile, Mike Holmgren. Go ahead, Mike. All that after this message and a word from our ABC station.
A halftime report brought to you by Toyota. Every day belongs to you. Make it count. Toyota, every day. Once again, live from our New York studio, Chris Berman and Boomer Esiason.
19-3 Giants at the half. 3 turnovers. That makes 26 quarters, 27 turnovers forced by the Giants. Sehorn has been great. And we talked about it at the beginning. Randall Cunningham, I know he warmed up a little bit later, but looked like he didn't want to be there in that rain and snow.
Well, the thing about it is that turnovers will kill you and kill coaches. I'll tell you that right now. And when you look at the turnovers that took place in the first half of this game, 2 of the turnovers had nothing to do with the Giant defense. It was a bobbled handoff here and then a bobble from center. These are the types of turnovers that coaches cannot live with. And then again, a great interception on the part of Jason Sehorn later on that made it the 3rd turnover. The Vikings cannot win, obviously, making plays like this.
At least their defense primarily holding the Giants to field goals. And, of course, field goals. Let's talk about a game in which we think there'll be a little few more touchdowns scored. Jacksonville at Denver. That's our late game for a preview out to Mile High and Al Michaels. Al?
And, Chris, we have a great day for it. Temperature in the 40s, and it's dry. And in a couple of hours, it'll be the Jaguars and the Broncos. And for a year now, it's been topic A in the Mile High City. Last year's stunning Jacksonville upset win over Denver. And for the Bronco players and coaches, it's like an open wound that has yet to heal. A look back at what took place. A year ago, the Broncos were a confident and rested team coming off a bye week. And in the first quarter, they took a 12-0 lead when John Elway hit Shannon Sharp for a touchdown. But by the half, Jacksonville had taken a 13-12 lead, and then in the third quarter, extended that advantage.
2nd and 8. Ball at the 31. McCardle in motion. Brunell with time. Now he's going to come on the run. Turns, lofts it downfield, looking for Keenan in the end zone. Keenan leaps, makes the catch. Touchdown, Jaguars!
Then in the fourth quarter, with Jacksonville leading by 3, this memorable Mark Brunell scramble and 29-yard run to keep a drive alive that would cement the victory. A drive that paid off this way.
Big play, 35 from the 16. Takes the snap, turns, looking for Jimmy in the end zone. Touchdown, Jaguars!
Denver would score again, but too little, too late, and in the biggest upset in postseason play since Super Bowl III, when the Jets shocked the Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars came away with a 30-27 victory. One thing for certain, the Broncos won't look past the Jaguars today, but another thing to keep in mind, last year the Jaguars were a 2-touchdown underdog. Today, just a 1-touchdown underdog. This is going to be a beauty from Denver, guys. We'll talk to you in a couple of hours.
All right, Al, thank you. We look forward to that. And when we come back here at halftime, we look forward to talking with the coach of the champs, Mike Holmgren, who, after 30 minutes more of football today, may know exactly who his team is playing next week.
Football is live on the web at abcmnf.com.
Giants lead the Vikings 19-3 at the half. Let's go out now live to Green Bay, where we're joined by the coach of the champion Green Bay Packers, Mike Holmgren. Happy holidays to you and Kathy and the girls, first of all, Coach.
Same to you, Chris.
Thanks, Mike. Given the conditions and given the Giants are at home, first half surprised you much or about the way you expected it to go?
Well, I think it was about the way I expected it to go, except for the fumbles and the turnovers. I think Minnesota, knowing what New York has done this season, I know Denny talked to his team a lot about being careful with the football, and that just hasn't happened. And That's led to New York points. Other than that, it's been a very physical game, which was expected, and not a lot of surprises other than that.
Coach, it's Boomer Esiason here. Congratulations on a great year again.
Thanks. Same to you.
Oh, thanks. You know, the guy next to me here picked the San Francisco 49ers to go to the Super Bowl this year. You know that, don't you?
Well, I know that. I know he has a special affection for that team, and, you know, that's a great organization, but we'll see what happens at the end.
Right, and, you know, looking at today's game, hopefully, it looks like that you're probably going to end up playing the Giants at this point, but we know we can't, you know, certainly count on that. But I would imagine playing the Giants as opposed to playing another one of the teams in your division that you had a slug through this year would probably be a little bit easier, maybe?
Well, you know what, Boomer, we talked about it as a staff, and every time I've gone into a playoff situation like this and tried to figure out who we were going to play, I've been wrong. So we just kind of said, hey, we'll let the chips fall, and we'll play whoever survives. Now, we know the other teams very, very well. The Giants we don't know as well. So we've studied them a little bit harder this week, and we'll have to, like you said, we'll have to see what happens after this game.
Quickly on your team, Mike, and you get back to action next Sunday. 13-3 this year, 13-3 last year. Better prepared as you enter the playoffs this year? Just different? What do you think?
Well, I think we're a little more tested. We went through the whole process last year and wound up winning. And so now we've been through it one time, and most of our players understand that the playoffs are different. They understand how the pressures are different. They understand me, how I'm different. And so we should go in with a little better feeling for it this year, but it's a different season, a different team. I know we're playing well right now, though.
Well, you certainly are. After that week off that you gave your ball club, you only lost one ball game. Well, time permitting, we hope to join you afterwards. Appreciate your time here at halftime.
Great. All
right, so Coach Mike Holmgren of the Packers. The Giants win. He knows they'll be playing them next week. But we got a half of football to go. The Giants with the leg up, 19-3.
Continues to be cold and snowy at the Meadowlands, but the Giants don't feel any of the elements at all. They're up 19-3 on the Minnesota Vikings. Brad DeLuiso has set an NFL playoff record, the first man in history with 4 field goals in the first half. 19-3. Vikings will get the football. Mo Williams and David Palmer are deep to receive DeLuiso's kick. Everett Lindsey, the starting center for the Vikings, they're very pleased to have him around tonight because he is the 3rd center. Otherwise, they'd have to go with LaShawn Daniels, and he made a miraculous recovery from an ankle injury. Palmer starts at the 5. He gets it out to the 28-yard line. Take a look at the first half statistics here in the playoff game. Minnesota held to 4 first downs, 21 yards rushing, and only 47 passing. They had the 3 turnovers. And, Joe, those numbers reflect what's happening on the field. They're getting thumped.
They are, and the Giants have done a good job of holding down that running game of the Minnesota Vikings.
Leroy Horde is the single setback. And Horde gets a carry, hammers his way forward near the 34-yard line, and maybe they are going with the bigger back, trying to grind it out a little.
Well, no, I think it's a good 1st and 10 call. You need something positive. The way everything has happened for them in the first half, you just want to come out with some kind of a positive play. Leroy Horde is just going to get up behind the right side, Dixon and Stringer, and just gain some yards. Now Robert Smith is back in. You put a little more versatility back in this offense.
Smith only with 10 yards on 8 carries in the first half. Smith this time struggling to get yardage across the 35 to about the 36, where middle linebacker Corey Widmer makes the tackle. Smith has been brilliant the last 3 games. Can't get untracked here this afternoon.
The Giants on defense have wanted to turn Minnesota into a one-dimensional offense. They've basically done that by shutting down the running game. They're forcing Randall Cunningham to throw the football.
3rd and 2. They need to get past the 38 for the first down. Cunningham wants to throw for it. Carter in the flat. He's got the first down, knocked out of bounds. Felipe Sparks on the coverage.
That's taking advantage of Randall Cunningham's athletic ability. It's just a simple speed play or a sprint out. what you do is you start Carter in motion. Very difficult for anybody to jam a wide receiver when they're moving. He starts in motion. Now Felipe Sparks, automatically he's trailing him. Just by being in position and Carter moving, he's automatically behind him. Cunningham puts the ball out for the play.
5 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Chris Carter. Smith off the left side. Got a good block from DeLong and gets to midfield where he's plastered out of bounds.
I got to believe that this is the way Minnesota envisioned this game starting.
Absolutely.
They wanted to come out, establish some type of a running game, make the Giant defense think a little bit about what they're going to have to do.
But after Randall Cunningham fumbled back-to-back snaps from center, both turnovers, that plan changed. Second and 4. Smith nailed in the backfield.
Mike, we talked about the center being so critical. Everett Lindsey that time just gets blown back by Keith Hamilton once again. I mean, there's nowhere for Robert Smith to run to. Watch it. He's just going to drive him right back, and there's going to be a big collision there, and Robert Smith winds up on the back end of it. I mean, they just can't control the middle of the football field. The middle of the offensive line is being controlled by the Giant tackles and the middle linebacker.
6-year veteran out of Pittsburgh. 3rd and 9. Opening possession, second half. Here comes the blitz. Cunningham to Reed in the flat. He had no chance. Wrapped up immediately and dropped. Tito Wooten was right there.
See, that's a case of just good defense. What you do is you force Randall Cunningham to throw the ball the only place he can to the hot receiver. There comes Felipe off the corner. Randall knows now he's got to get the ball to Jake, but unfortunately, he can't get far enough to get the first down. It's very important that the tackle be made, and that's exactly what happened on that one.
Toomer waits at his 10 for Berger's punt. Didn't get a spiral, and Toomer hustles up to the 19-yard line to make the fair catch. A punt of only 33 yards. 11:14 to go third quarter. It has been all New York Giants. Giants go back to work on offense, and Barber across the 20 to the 21-yard line.
Mike, you just don't see the Giants changing from what they want to do offensively. Jim Fossil very deliberate in trying to double-team John Randall, make sure he doesn't put a lot of pressure on Danny Cannell, and get the ball off quick. That's the way they want to do it, and that's exactly the way they've had it the first half.
2nd and 9 for the Giants. Clock running, 10:44 to go third period. Barber behind Wade, loose ball. The Vikings have it at the 5-yard line. Jerry Ball makes the recovery, and the hit by Tony Williams shook it loose, and the sigh from Jim Fossil.
Well, that's the way that's why they wanted to get Tony Williams on the field. He's a playmaker, and he makes some tackles.
The second Giant turnover.
This time he's lined up over the right guard. Right here, he's just going to take a hard charge and knock the ball loose. Comes inside. They can't cut him off. Gets the ball knocked loose from Tiki Barber. All of a sudden, the momentum's starting to swing ever so slightly in this game.
5th turnover in this game. The first 4 have led to field goals. Leroy Horde, straight ahead, power run, touchdown. So the Giants, who came in with the best turnover ratio in the NFL all year long, have turned it over twice on fumbles, and the Vikings have turned those mistakes into 10 points.
We talked about that offensive line, Mike. That's a big, big right side. David Dixon, 350. Corey Stringer, 350. They just plow it over. Jesse Armstead gets knocked back. They just follow the big guys into the end zone. There it is. A lot of push up front by the big guys on the right side.
The point after is good by Eddie Murray. And the Vikings suddenly back in the ball game, down by 9 with 10:26 to go in the quarter.
NFC's NFL Wild Card Saturday. Brought to you by Ford Taurus. Have you driven a Ford lately? Tostitos Tortilla Chips and Salsas. Now's a good time. And Budweiser, since 1876, the classic American lager.
The Vikings capitalize on a fumble, get their first touchdown of the day. They're down 19-10 in front of a sellout crowd here, and Berger to kick to Tiki Barber, who's returning kicks because Pegram is out today. Cross to 20, 30, 32 for Tiki Barber. Tackle made by Corey Fuller. 5 combined turnovers and 19 points off of those 5 turnovers. And we've told you all during the regular season how important they are. During the playoffs, they are even more so. Right now, the Giants with a +1 turnover margin, and that figure wins 73% of the time.
Yeah, but you're not going to convince the Minnesota Vikings of that right now. I think they have a little bit of momentum on their side.
Way is the fullback. He'll get the carry. Slips through McDaniel. Runs over a couple of other tacklers out to the 39-yard line. Corey Fuller had to make the stop. And when you run into a team like this, Joe, that wants to run the football, that wants to play field position, you have to make those tackles if you have a shot at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Coach Fazio can call the right defense against Danny Cannell in this offense. The problem is you have to have guys making plays for you. And if Way continues to break tackles and come up with good yardage on 1st and 10, it's going to make it more difficult for Foch to decide what he wants to do.
Picked up 6 on that carry. Way, a little stutter step, hitting the backfield. He'll lose a couple on this one. Excellent play by Tony Williams, the rookie out of Memphis, the guy that created the turnover on the last series.
Minnesota has decided they want to be more aggressive on the defensive line. They're coming after Roman Oben this time. We talked about number 72, Bishop. He comes in, beats him inside. Tony Williams is a guy they felt had to get on the field somehow. With this youth movement, they got him out there.
3rd and 7. Cannell with time and throws short. That came in on the hop to Patton. Did a great job scooping it off the turf, but it's incomplete. Dwayne Clemens got to Cannell just as he threw.
Danny Cannell was not able to step into this throw, so it just died before it got there.
And Minnesota will get the ball right back.
Giants staying committed to the way they run the offense. Run on 1st and 2nd down, keep it in a manageable 3rd. That time Minnesota's defense up to the challenge.
But in this half, they've run 5 plays and lost 7 yards. And they'll blow this play dead. Ed Hockley, our referee today.
False start by the offense, left tackle before the snap. 5-yard penalty, it's still 4th down.
So now it's 4th and 12. It's only the 4th penalty in a well-officiated ball game.
The Giants had the luxury of having excellent field position in the first half. Jim Fossil's team was only able to come up with just a couple of field goals in the early turnovers. Now Minnesota is starting to enjoy a better field position game.
Palmer waits at the 30. Nice high floater from Maynard. Palmer with a late fair catch signal and makes it at the 29. Danny Cannell struggling a little bit in the second half thanks to the defensive play of Tony Williams and the Vikings.
He feels the route. Once he gets on him, he feels the route and drives it, gets the right hand in there and knocks the ball down. Matched up against Carter all day in the zone. He reads triangle. Carter in the quarterback. Plays outside. He's got help inside. Here's athleticism. 2 great guys going up. He makes the interception.
He has been brilliant. They'll blow this play dead. Had a lot of pushing and shoving after plays.
The ball was snapped. False start by the offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty is still 2nd down.
Todd Stussy. Let's go back to Ron.
Thanks, Mike. You know, that matchup we talked about, Carter and Sehorn, is a big one in this one. He's been matched up 35 times, thrown at 7 times. Carter only has 3 catches, so this is a fun one to watch. And if the Vikings cannot run the football and they have to throw it, I'll tell you, this is one that'll be worth admission. 2 great athletes going head-to-head. Mike?
Absolutely, Ron. 2nd and 6 after the penalty. snowing harder here in New Jersey. And Cunningham short hop one to Jake Reed.
Mike, because of Randall Cunningham's newness to this offense, for him to start on one side of the football field and have to work his way all the way back to a third or fourth receiver, it's just not his strong suit. Brian Bellick has to give him a side of the field to work to, let him go 1-2, and then use his athletic ability. I think almost at times he tries to stay in the pocket too much and doesn't take off instinctively.
From the 34-yard line, it's 3rd and 6. Here comes the blitz. They almost got there. Cunningham unloads. Jake Reed! What a catch by Reed. He got away from Sparks. A gain of 32.
Those are the kind of athletic plays that Randall Cunningham can make, but you can't get it off unless you get the protection. Watch the blitz come up the middle. Charles Evans, number 29. There he is right over there. He's going to make the block. There it is. He fills in. Jesse Armstead does a good job of knocking him down. Jake Reed just makes a great individual effort on Felipe Sparks.
Robert Smith back in at tailback. He'll get the carry. Smith slashes his way to the Giant 30-yard line. Gain of 3.
Charles Evans did a good job on that play, giving Randall Cunningham an opportunity to make a play. Picks up Jesse Armstead as he tried to come up the middle.
And Armstead has become the big play guy for that Giant defense. He and Sehorn, along with Strahan.
And now we're starting to see the wide receivers of the Minnesota Vikings doing what they have to do. Jake Reed and Chris Carter making plays.
This is the first time the Vikings offense has crossed midfield into Giant territory.
Cunningham sacked. Oh, what a job by Michael Strahan. He just splits the double team. Cunningham wanted to get outside. DeLong couldn't pin him. Strahan just comes outside a Stringer, inside of DeLong, and makes the play. There he is. They can't double team him, and he forces Randall Cunningham to get caught inside.
Strahan voted to the Pro Bowl as a starter out of Texas Southern. 14 sacks, tied for 3rd in the NFL. 3rd and 15. And Cunningham will burn a timeout. 5:57 to go, 3rd quarter, back in a moment. It's the Vikings facing a 3rd and 15. The wind becoming a factor for the first time. Coming up after our ball game, the Jaguars against the Broncos in Denver. The rematch of last year's great game. 3rd and 15, the crowd on its feet. Three-man rush. Cunningham trying to run for it, gets back to the 30. Michael Strahan makes the tackle.
First of all, that's a good job by the defensive secondary of the Giants, and then a terrific job reacting to Randall Cunningham trying to run the football by the linebackers.
They will send on Eddie Murray to try a 47-yard field goal. In fact, they'll make it 48. His long this year, 49. It won't get there.
Mike, that was the end of the field where the wind is blowing in Eddie Murray's face. It's come up late here in the second half.
19-10, the Giants defense holds. In an ABC Sports special, the Claro Nice and Easy Figure Skating Classic. It's the women against the men. World champion Tara Lipinski and Michelle Kwan team up against the men's team, including Todd Eldridge and Paul Wiley. Giants take over. Barber 45, 47-yard line, knocked out of bounds, a gain of 9, maybe 10.
Mike, if Tiki Barber just follows Charles Way around the football field, there's going to be holes and alleys to run into. He does a real nice job here of kicking out Corey Fuller after the left side of the line seals. Roman Oben gets a nice hook on Randall. Way kicks out Fuller, and Tiki's got himself a lane to pick up some yards.
I don't know that Charles Way has missed a block today. Rodney Hampton in to give Barber a breather. Hampton gets the carry and gets drilled as he got back to the line of scrimmage. The emotional Robert Griffith made the stop instead.
Again, Minnesota deciding that they want to put a lot of people around the line of scrimmage, challenging that Giant offense to throw the football. So far, they've not been able to do it. Ineffective basically at the end of the half, and on their first 2 series and possessions here in the third quarter, haven't been able to generate a first down.
Third down as opposed to the season, much better for the Giants. Cannell with good protection, throws incomplete. Intended for Barber. Rudd was out there along with Robert Griffin. And they'll punt the ball away with 3:56 to go third quarter.
Mike, the Giants, I don't think, can win this football game if they continue to play it this close to the vest on offense. They're going to have to get some first downs. They're going to have to make some plays. You know, you just keep giving the Vikings an opportunity, and you can't just rely on your defense to save you every time out. But sooner or later, Dennis Green's offense is going to do something.
Poor kick blown by the wind, goes out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. It's going to be right at the 40-yard line. Excellent field position for Minnesota after a 14-yard punt from Maynard. Here's the Budweiser NFL news. The Jaguars and the Broncos, the 2 best records among teams playing in the first round. They'll come up in about an hour and 15 minutes. Terrell Davis back after a shoulder injury. Brett Favre and Barry Sanders, co-winners of the Associated Press MVP Award. Cunningham with a double clutch and throws incomplete, intended for Reed, covered by Wooten.
A lot of times, Mike, if a quarterback goes back on a 3 set, if you can't get to him, you just find the throwing lane that he wants to get it into. Armstead set himself in that throwing lane, gave Cunningham no place to go with the football.
Cunningham, 8 out of 21, 98 yards. But in all fairness to him, he's had several drops. Did commit the 2 big turnovers on fumbles and threw an interception. And they'll blow this play dead.
Timeout, New York. That's their first charge team timeout. That's a 30-second timeout.
The Giants really going after each other, believe it or not. Felipe Sparks was being grabbed by Armstead.
You got Tito Wooten in the middle of this. Felipe Sparks is trying to settle it down. Conrad Hamilton, number 41, is out there. This is something that John Fox and Jim Fossil do not want to see. They don't want to see their team struggling in communication with one another.
That was communication?
I guess. That's about as close to fisticuffs as you've come without having it happen.
I mean, in the locker room, maybe, but on the field? 2nd and 10. Never saw what started it.
I hope they got it straightened out for their sake.
Four-man rush. Cunningham throws. Carter couldn't hold it. Trying to get the first down. And boy, it looked like the wind had an effect on that. It looked like that ball changed direction about halfway
I'll
there.
tell you what else had an effect on that. Keith Hamilton, number 75, caused Randall Cunningham to unload this thing in a heartbeat. Randall's going back, and Hamilton's coming around the corner. They're just working on McDaniel. They've got him double-teamed. He splits it. Now Randall just barely gets this thing off and does his own little corkscrew spinner just to get rid of it.
3rd and 10. Except for turnovers, the Viking offense has done very little on its own. Cunningham to run. Hurdles a man, fumbles the football, recovered by the Vikings. Leroy Hoard. What a break for Minnesota. The third Randall Cunningham fumble. This time the Vikings get it back.
Well, you know that Randall Cunningham is an athlete once he gets in the open field. He loves to get up in the air. He told me once, he said, the reason I like to go up in the air, I feel like the chances of getting hurt are so minimal. This time he goes back on third down. I don't believe he had every intention of throwing that one. He just gets up in the air, gets knocked away. Good hustle by Leroy Hoard.
Inside the Giant 40, clock running, 3:16 to go, third quarter. Here comes the blitz. Cunningham unloads to Carter. He gets a block and picks up a couple of more yards before he steps out of bounds to the 31. Sparks and Carter yakking at each other a little.
Mike, you know, defensively, you can set up any scheme you want, but you just cannot compensate for a quarterback's ability to make plays with his legs. That's what Randall Cunningham has brought to this offense, and it's creating a problem for John Fox's defense.
2nd and 2. He's got the first down and more. Robert Smith to the 21-yard line. Garnes plastered him at that point.
Everett Lindsey, number 61, the center, finally gets the better ends of it. This time he's going to block Hamilton and allow Robert Smith to go right up the middle.
Another first down, Vikings. They're down by 9 points. Comes the blitz off the corner. Sehorn misses Cunningham. Randall on the run to the 15. And Joe, did you see the end of the play? He really covered up that football.
Yeah, he took much better care of it that time, but Jason Sehorn had a clean shot at Randall Cunningham. What he did is he was just coming too fast, was too aggressive. Here he comes off the corner, lower part of your screen. Now, all he has to do is break down. Instead, he wants to try and knock him over. He goes flying by. Obviously, if that's the guy on the blitz, that means he's the contained guy. Randall runs where he left.
Cunningham gains 7. Make it 6 at 2nd and 4. The fullback, Evans. And he's inside the 10, dragging tacklers with him. He'll have a first down. Strahan finally pulled him down along with Garnes, but a tough run by the fullback, Charles Evans. One other thing to consider, Joe, the Giant defense has been on the field almost all of the second half.
Hey, and this is what we talked about, Mike. Their offense hasn't helped them one bit. And you've got, like we talked, the size, 350 with David Dixon, 350 with Corey Stringer. They're just pounding away on that Giant front four.
First and goal, Minnesota. Smith. Boy, nice tackle by Corey Widmer as Smith tried to cut outside. The middle linebacker saved what could have been a touchdown.
And remember, Mike, the last time the Vikings were down here, they had Chris Walsh on what would have been a touchdown catch, except he dropped it. So they've been able to move the football, just haven't been able to make the plays.
And Randall Cunningham is not going to try to run a play. The Vikings own the third quarter. Time of possession better than 3-1. 21 plays to 8. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, the Giants 19, the Vikings 10. We'll be back after this from our ABC station. Second and goal, Vikings from the Giants' 8-yard line. Cunningham, pump fake, throws the end zone off the fingertips of Chris Carter. Jim Fossil, the NFL Coach of the Year, after a remarkable turnaround for this program, has his team up by 9 points over Denny Green's Vikings. Green, in his 5th playoff appearance, has yet to win a game in postseason. Cunningham now 9 out of 24, 106 yards. 3rd and goal. On Carter, also had some help. Hamilton and Ellsworth were also over there.
Well, basically, Randall Cunningham has decided that when he gets down close, he's just going to go let Chris Carter try and make a play. Sehorn, instead of being up tight on Carter, lays back, so he really just runs into him with nowhere to go. That's just good defensive philosophy. A lot of times you're up on a guy's face, you can make that fade throw. But when the receiver has to come to you, there's no place for the quarterback to put the ball.
Eddie Murray will try from 26. And they have cut the lead to 6 points. 19-13. The Vikings clawing their way back into it. Jason Sehorn with another big defensive play that saves a touchdown. Giants, let's show you what happened during the timeout. The Giants really yelling at each other. Hamilton and Strahan going at it. And watch John Fox. John Fox is just going to go sit between them.
Well, this game is obviously very emotional for the Giants, and John just does the right thing. He just sits down between the two of them. Give him a chance to settle down.
The Giants have to collect themselves now. They're up by 6. Barber on the kickoff return. Caught and dropped by Fuller at the 20-yard line. Let's go to Ron Jaworski.
Thanks, Mike. Earlier we talked about a tremendous matchup today, John Randall and Roman Oben. And so far, Oben has held his own. Here he uses real good technique by getting his hands on John Randall. That's critical because Randall has a lot of moves. This is the one, right? He feels him and then clubs him because the play is coming underneath. Good job of opening the hole. Here you'll see him going one-on-one against Randall. Again, the hands on him and takes it away right there. Good job of staying between Cannell and the defender. Good job.
Cannell going to work, completes it out to Patton. A gain about 8. Let's go back to Ron Jaworski.
Mike, they have been going head-to-head. Here are the numbers. Of the 53 plays, you can see 52 have been head-to-head. Oben's been helped 13 times. Of the last 36 plays, he's only gotten help 3 times. The Giants are beginning to feel more comfortable that Oben can handle Randall. You know, Randall came into this game with 5 sacks over the last couple games since he's moved to that defensive end position. So far, he has 0.
Done a great job on him, hasn't he, Jaws? Until that last pass play, the Giants offense had gained 1 yard in the second half. They're going to lose yardage here up from the secondary. Robert Griffith, the safety, to wrap up Tiki Barber. And we're hearing some boos from the crowd here at the Meadowlands.
Well, Michael, if you don't throw the ball down the field, you don't have the safeties having playing back. They don't respect the pass. The Giants have put themselves in these long 3rd downs by their own decisions to be able to attack the defense by running it all the time.
The Giants now, as you saw, with 2 yards in the second half. Count them, 2. 3rd and 9. The momentum shifting to the Minnesota Vikings. Cannell steps up. Nice throw, first down. Patton makes the catch near the 40.
David Patton only had 13 catches coming into this game, but he's really stepped it up of late. 17 yards of receptions, 2 touchdowns. He's had both receptions on this particular play. He's got 4 in this game for 70. Good protection by the offensive line. Watch Patton go up and make this reception. He's not a big guy. He's only 5'9", but comes down with the ball.
First down, New York. Cannell to throw again over the middle. Callaway with a diving try. Is it a catch? Yes. Callaway at the 39-yard line. Heck of a throw and a great catch by Callaway.
Some excellent calls, too, by Jim Fossil now. He's opening up a little bit. Callaway has the inside. He just goes down on it. And yes, he does an excellent job of protecting the ball.
Well, that's a heck of a throw, too. Back to the ground game. Tiki Barber running over tacklers to the 32. And this is exactly what the Giants had to have. They had squandered their lead, seen it cut to 6 points. Now they respond.
But they also throw it down the field so that you
Exactly.
can't get the safeties up around the line of scrimmage. Now, Jim Fossil can go back and start to pound the ball a little bit and work the clock. That is first and foremost on his mind, is working the clock, bleeding this clock down. Take as much time as you can on offense. It'll also settle down his defensive unit, which has really got a burr going right now.
Don't they ever? 2nd and 3. Barber. Way went outside to lead the play. Barber thought he saw something, cut back inside. There was nothing there.
Tony Williams, number 94, really has come in to play the tackle position, having a heck of a half. It's allowed John Randall to move outside. And when you talk to John Randall, he says Tony Williams has the same kind of motor I have. He says it's nice to have this youthful enthusiasm with someone else besides me.
3rd and now 4 for the Giants. Good protection for Cannell. And he fits one in there to Way. Another nice throw by Cannell. Robert Griffith made the tackle.
This is a terrific throw. This is a big-time, big league throw. There is just not a lot of room to put the ball in.
And it's a first down.
And Danny Cannell focuses down the field. He's real patient. Watch where this ball is. It's low and away. Griffith could not have been all over Callaway any more than he was.
Another first down as we approach the 10-minute mark. Barber. The Vikings doing a much better job here in the second half defensively. Guess who? Tony Williams, the rookie from Memphis. They call him the miniature John Randall, but at 291 pounds and 6'1", hard to imagine he's a miniature anything.
He's just got, you're right. He's got terrific speed. He just beats off the block and runs sideline to sideline. Doing a good job on Lance Scott, the center.
Eating up a lot of time on this drive, down to 9.5 minutes. 2nd and 11. Play action by Cannell. Good protection again. Man wide open. It's Patton inside the 15. Dwayne Washington on the coverage, and Danny Cannell right now looks like he did during that streak in the regular season when he was just perfect.
Well, he's back in a rhythm now, and that's because the offensive line continues to give him an opportunity to step up and throw. Roman Oben once again working on John Randall, taking him wide outside. Now the Giants are moving the ball down the field a little bit. This makes it more difficult for the safeties to be up there stopping the run.
And Patton having a career game, 5 catches, 84 yards. Barber hit in the backfield, falls forward to the line of scrimmage. Dwayne Clemens knifed through.
They've not really had much of a drive going until all the third quarter. Didn't do much. Now here they have 10 plays. Started at their own 21, but more importantly, eating up 6 minutes of the clock.
That's the biggest number on that stat. Cannell with a bootleg. Callaway inside the 10, dives forward near the 7. They need to reach the 4 for a first down.
You know, when you've got a quarterback that has good movement, not great movement like, say, Randall Cunningham, but good movement, Jim Fossil just picks his spot. They keep running. All of a sudden, a little quick play action. You get Danny Cannell on the perimeter with an easy throw for a completion.
Any kind of a score down here, a field goal would make it 22-13. That makes it a 2-score situation for Minnesota. 3rd and 3. Approaching 7.5 minutes. Way. What a run by Way. Got to the 5. That'll still be shy of the first down. It'll be 4th and 1. I can't imagine Jim Fossil going for it here, Joe.
No way. You've got to try and put the points on the board to try and make it, like you said, Mike, a 2-score game.
He's waiting to see how close it is. The field goal team is not on the field yet. And the officials have stopped the clock. I think what the Giants did was call for a measurement, even though it's a yard short. That's smart.
It really is, and it's something that when I played for Coach Gibbs, whenever we got close, he insisted that we get measurements. And the reason why is it gives Fossil a chance to talk it over, figure out exactly what he wants to do. But I agree. I think if it's not a first down, which we don't think it is, he's got to try and kick the field goal.
It's a free timeout. You have a chance to map strategy.
That's right, and this is the right decision to make.
Now, sometimes in a situation like that, the officials will not stop the clock to measure because they say it's not even close.
They have to. They have to give you the measurement.
What if it was fourth and 5? What are you going to do?
Wouldn't do it then.
All right. There's a cutoff there somewhere. Daloiso will come on to try his 5th field goal. He's hit from 22, 41, 43, and 51. An NFL record in the first half. $22-yard effort from Daloiso. High snap. They got it down and put it through. What a job by Maynard. He may have saved the ball game. He showed us the hands of Joe Theismann on that one. Maynard snatched it over the top of his helmet, put it down, and Daloiso knocked it through, 22-13. This 5th field goal, Brad Maynard, the guy in the hood, celebrating on the sideline after a great hold. If he doesn't come up with that football, it can go the other way for a touchdown. Palmer across the 20 and not much more. They'll mark it at the 23-yard line. Ball came loose, but well after the whistle had blown. Dennis Green sees his club needs 2 scores now in 6:53. And we'll be back to see what the Vikings do on offense in just a moment. The Giants offense came through when they needed it most. A 74-yard drive that took almost 8 minutes off the clock. And on that drive, Danny Cannell was perfect. 6 out of 6, 72 yards. Robert Smith, his day may be done because they're going to have to go to the pass right now. Cunningham with a lot of time. Throws short to Leroy Horde. Horde gets it out to the 32, maybe the 33. Sparks made the tackle.
Mike, the thing that the Giant defense cannot do is they can't give up too much room and allow them to pick up 8, 9, 10, 12 yards and get an opportunity to score with a lot of time left on the clock. John Fox's guys they can't fight among themselves. They're going to have to go tackle the guys in the white shirts.
Under 6.5 minutes left. Second and 1. They'll try to pick up the first down with Horde. And quite honestly, Joe, I don't think they have enough time to run the ball at all. They need 2 scores.
Well, I think it's important right there to pick up the first down. But I think they do, Mike. And here they're taking a look at the doctor checking out Danny Cannell, showing him some pictures down there.
Vikings taking a lot of time here. Cunningham fumbles the snap from center again.
See, Mike, now I got to believe that they have to go into somewhat of a 2-minute offense. They just can't walk on back to the huddle. There's got to be some kind of pace to this offense that they don't have right now. Again, the snap from the center, difficult. Randall Cunningham just getting out too quick.
That's his 4th fumble today. He's lost 2 of them. Joe, they are just burning the clock right now. They're not going anywhere.
There's no pace in this offense. They got to move with a little urgency.
Cunningham throws underneath. It's his tight end, Andrew Glover, for a very short gain.
Mike, they continue to huddle with 5 minutes to go. You're down
I don't get it.
Well, you're down by 2 scores. I don't think that you can have the luxury of going back and taking 20 seconds every time just to try and get a playoff. I mean, the Vikings are defeating themselves as much at this point as the Giant defense.
It's 3rd and 4. The rhythm is almost like they're protecting a lead rather than needing 2 scores. They'll give it to Smith on the run on 3rd and 4. Holy cow, what a call. And they're taking forever at the line of scrimmage.
Michael Strahan, number 92, coming around the corner, does a good job of sliding in. He comes out wide and then cuts up hard inside.
Well, here's one I don't really believe, Joe. There's 4:05 to go in the game. They're down by 2 scores, and they sent on the punt team?
I don't understand it, Mike. I just don't understand it. And they're letting the clock continue to run down. He gets this off with 8 seconds to go.
That is staggering. Fair catch made it to 15, a punt of 44 yards. There is a flag down on the play back near the line of scrimmage. It is against Minnesota.
What I do now is, I mean, Fossil looks like he's going to refuse it. I'd put him back, let him kick again, and run more time off the clock.
A member of the kicking team, number 57, was illegally downfield before the punt. The penalty is declined. New York keeps the ball, 1st down.
ABC's New Year's Day bowl game starting at 1 o'clock Eastern Thursday. The CompUSA Citrus Bowl, Penn State against Florida. Then at 4:30, the Rose Bowl, Michigan looking for its first national title in 50 years against Washington State. And then at 8:30, the Nokia Sugar Bowl, Ohio State and Florida State. That last sequence is totally beyond me, how they could take that much time at the line of scrimmage and huddling and then punt the ball down 2 scores.
It's a poor job of clock management by the quarterback. And you got to get it in and out of the huddle.
Not going to be much doubt about what the Giants will do here. Wheatley is in at the tailback. Excuse me, Hampton. And he does a good job of staying in bounds.
Minnesota continuing to let the clock run. I would have tried to spin the strategy ahead a little bit and say, okay, Mike, what you do is call timeouts now. Use up the timeouts. Make them get a 1st down and get the ball back. But they're even conserving them.
Well, they'll use, I assume, and I was certainly wrong about the last possession, they'll use it after 2nd and 3rd down. Either that or they're just mailing in the rest of
it.
this.
Danny Cannell is going to snap this thing with about 3 seconds to go on the clock.
Hampton brought down at the 19-yard line. And now they call a timeout with 3 minutes to go. Well, the Vikings will go back and take a look at the last time they had possession of the football. And I think just be amazed at how much time they burned off the clock without accomplishing anything. ABC's coverage of today's NFC Wildcard Playoff game is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Microsoft, where do you want to go today? Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services. And by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. The Vikings on their way to a 5th consecutive playoff loss. And their 7th playoff loss overall, 5 under Denny Green.
And you wonder if Dennis Green will have the opportunity to coach this football team again next year.
Yeah, he'll certainly be coaching somewhere. Giants just working on the clock. Barber trying to go outside. Breaks another tackle. Stays in bounds. Got it to the 22-yard line.
It's a good job by Tiki Barber, just taking it as far as he could and then getting down.
The Vikings used their final, or did they? The clock is running again. This is beyond belief.
Mike, I do not understand the clock management here at the end of the game. The Giants are just continuing to go along with it and let the clock run. 2:20 left in the game, 2:19.
The play clock is down to 2, and they'll call a timeout at 1.
Hey, tell us. That's their second charge timeout. It's a 30-second
This timeout is taken by the Giants just to make sure that they have everybody on the field. Mike, since when the Vikings got the ball in the last series, I didn't think they moved with any kind of urgency to get to the line of scrimmage to try and run plays. Now, defensively, they really didn't do anything to try and stop the clock. I mean, they, basically you've seen 5 plays run in the last 4 minutes of this football game.
Exactly. And not only did they huddle up and take a long time, once they got to the line of scrimmage, it was a long signal count.
I don't think you can get to the line of scrimmage and go to audibles. You have to have something in a 2-minute drill that becomes a 5-minute drill if you're down by 9.
Let's see if they come after Maynard. His job is just to kick it at all. And he got it out of there. Not a great kick, but he accomplished his purpose. The ball goes out of bounds near midfield. A 25-yard punt, but all you want is to avoid the block. 2:06 to go in the ballgame. The Vikings still down by 2 scores. If the Giants hold on to this lead, it would be their first playoff victory since '93 when they beat the same Minnesota Vikings. And that was the last time the Giant fans got to see Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms here in the Meadowlands. Cunningham throws on the run, almost intercepted, then almost caught. Glover had a shot at it after it was off the fingertips of the defender. Tito Wooten had a crack at the pick and nearly handed it to Glover. We've reached the 2-minute warning. We'll be back in a moment. The crowd feels it now. A sellout house on its feet. A 9-point lead with 1:57 to go.
Mike,
the Giants, the darlings of the NFC East.
They become the darlings of the NFL. Minnesota's got to eat up a bunch of yards. I mean, the defense has done all they could for the Vikings. They've gotten a lot of opportunities for this offense. They just haven't been able to make plays.
Crowd chanting defense. Here comes the blitz. Carter, a juggling catch, gets it down to the 30. Even the catches haven't been clean.
Now they're starting to move with a little urgency. Giants doing a good job of hustling back to the other side.
Cunningham will kill the clock at 1:38. Well, I honestly thought that's what they should have been doing about 6 minutes ago. They have lost 6 in a row in the postseason. This would be 7, breaking the Giants and Cleveland's record. These are records you don't want.
You can't. If you're the Giants on defense, you don't want to give up a quick big score right here. You want to make them work for every yard they're going to get.
Cunningham under pressure, steps up, throws for the end zone. Jake Reed, touchdown.
There it was, the athletic ability of Randall Cunningham. That's the one thing the Giants couldn't afford with 1:30 to go.
And I think Tito Wooten ran into the camera of one of the photographers, and he's hurt. The photographer was checking his equipment.
Randall steps up in the pocket. Now Jake Reed just gets on top of Tito Wooten. He makes the play. And you'll see the photographer to the right. Good job of getting his feet down. The official is sure the left one's in, and watch Wooten go into the photographer.
So it's 22-19.
You got to take a good look at Jake Reed's left foot. That's going to be the one. The right one comes down inbounds. The right one's down. Oh. Boy, that's close. Now, you see the official trailing it, so he's really not in a position to be able to see whether it hit the line or not.
Now, if the heel hit first inbounds, it's good.
That's right. Heel toe, good. Toe?
Toe heel, no good.
Don't matter.
And now Wooten is up a little gimpy.
Randall Cunningham just saying, hey, look, guys, just get us the ball one more time. Just give us an opportunity.
Boy, Joe, you hit it right on the head. They wanted to make him earn every yard, and instead they get burned on one big play.
2 plays, they wind up going that entire distance, burning very little time off the clock. The Giants, just started to celebrate a little too early.
Murray for the point after. It is a 2-point ball game.
Took him 36 seconds, Mike, to get that touchdown on the board.
On the previous drive, they were in the huddle longer than that. Tomorrow night on ABC, 2 network television premieres. First, on the Wonderful World of Disney, the charming story that will warm your heart, A Little Princess. And then Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte together in I Love Trouble. It's all tomorrow night for the first time on network television on ABC. Like that movie. Nick Nolte and Julia Roberts, the special teams coaches, hard at work here. The onside kick will be coming. The Vikings have only 1 timeout.
Larry McDuff putting his hands team out there. Gary Zorner, he wants his hands team out there as well. Anybody who can handle a football or catch a football. What you're going to look at on this onside kick is the front line guys will try and get up and become blockers so that the second line guys, Howard Cross, Jason Sehorn, have the ability to field the ball in the air.
And Eddie Murray instead of Mitch Berger will be the kicker. Murray, the onside kick specialist. Callaway got his hands on it and fumbled it. The Vikings looked like they got it, and they did. Holy cow.
Instead of letting the ball bounce, they just tried to go and make a play on it. Bounced right off his chest. There's the official signal. This is just a low liner that never really gets up in the air. He hits it crooked. Callaway, it comes out funny now that slipping and sliding. Giants can't quite get to it. Vikings come up with the ball.
Chris Walsh with the recovery. And all they have to do is gain about 30 yards for a field goal shot that would win the game.
It's on the shoulders of that Giant defense one more time.
The crowd here is stunned. They show blitz. Everybody jumps. They'll blow the play dead. The Giants jumped, and then Everett Lindsay, the center, snapped the ball. But did Lindsay move before he snapped it?
Jesse Armstead's right in the middle of the officials.
Illegal snap, false start by the center of the offense. 5-yard penalty is still first down. Please reset the clock to 1:25. The clock should read 1:25. Thank you.
Everett Lindsay really never played center till 3 weeks ago. There he is over the ball. You see him move. Up there, that little bit of flinch. That little bit of flinch caused it. He can move around and look, but he just can't flinch those shoulders.
1st and 15. The game on the line on this drive. Cunningham throws complete, and Carter lost the football. The officials say incomplete. Oh, we're going to want to see this one again.
Chris Carter never quite has possession. Remember on the last drive, Mike had a little trouble hanging on to it? This is the same thing. Cunningham moves around. This ball's bouncing around. He never quite gets control of it. Good call by the official. Bounces once, twice, even when he's on the ground, can't quite make a play on it.
You're right, never did have control. 2nd and 15. Cunningham drops it for Glover. Glover will pick up about 5 and get out of bounds at the 44. Scott Galen chased him out. 1:09 left.
Mike, plenty of time left on the clock. Also, the Vikings still have 1 timeout. And Eddie Murray looking for that opportunity. Now, like we talked about, if there is a win, it's going to be at his back if he has an opportunity to kick a field goal. Giants have to be real careful here because of Randall Cunningham's running ability. You just can't go cover all the receivers and turn your back to him.
3rd and 4. Carter to the 35-yard line, 1st down, a gain of 20. Are you believing this?
Jason Sehorn was right up on his nose. Carter manages to get up into the seam and make the play.
6 catches, 82 yards for Carter. Cunningham kills the clock with 50 seconds left.
Mike, what did we know about the efficiency of the clock before, huh?
Whoa.
Cunningham really done a terrific job. Perfectly thrown ball. Chris Carter comes up with the big play. He's the man that had to have it happen for him. Did it last week against the Colts to get in?
The last road team to overcome a deficit like this to win, 72. Dallas against San Francisco. Cunningham goes for all of it. A flag down. That's going to be interference. Sparks against Reed. And this puts them in field goal range. Jim Fossil can't believe it.
They make it defensive pass interference. Hey, one thing, the Vikings have just continued to battle and battle
Pass
back.
interference by the defense, number 22. Automatic 1st down.
Jake Reed against Felipe Sparks. Felipe's right on top of him. Just a lot of contact. And obviously can't quite get to the ball.
From here, the field goal try would be 38 yards. The Vikings have 1 timeout left. Smith bursts straight up the middle. Smith to the 5. A gain of 16.
There's really no hurry now. The Vikings on offense can just take their time, do the things they want to do, no hurry. Randall Cunningham doing a good job of just keeping an eye on the clock.
And he just drops it down, and they'll kill the clock with 13 seconds to go.
Randall Cunningham was in total control, and Chris Callaway couldn't control the onside kick. It just got away from him.
And that was a tough ball to come up with, too, spinning sideways.
All the Giants had to do was get their hands on it. They probably could have run the clock out, but they never had an opportunity.
Well, I'll be honest with you. 5 minutes ago, I wouldn't have given you a plug nickel for the Vikings' chances.
Nope.
Eddie Murray, this would be 12 out of 19 during the regular season. Game-winning kicks. And now the Vikings will use their last timeout.
Mike, that's the difference when you have big play people on a football team. You're never quite out of it. The Giants really don't have those big play guys that they can eat up big chunks of yardage with. For the Vikings, you've got Chris Carter, you've got Jake Reed, and you've got Randall Cunningham who can do it with his legs. 3 opportunities to make plays versus really none.
The Giants' big play guys are on defense.
That's right.
And the Giants are stunned by the turn of events. It looked for all the world like they had this game in their back pocket. And Randall Cunningham has survived all the mistakes. Murray for the game winner. sneaks it inside the left upright. And the Vikings go on top 23-22 with 10 seconds left.
That has been a total team effort by the Minnesota Vikings. Their defense came up strong. Remember in the beginning when the Giants couldn't capitalize on the 2 big turnovers, only wound up with field goals. And Wellington Merritt just stands there as the snow comes down in total disbelief.
The Giants have had a brilliant season, but this would be a disastrous end to it. Murray. He sure used it all, but he got it through. And Cunningham able to celebrate the fruits of everything he did on that drive.
Okay, he has played one courageous football game,
he is.
And these guys love Dennis Green. He wouldn't let him quit. Whatever he told them at halftime made a world of difference.
And heartbreak for Callaway. Now 10 seconds left. If you go with the squib kick, you put them reasonably close to field goal territory.
I don't think you do. It's not going to be a short squib kick. I think you roll it along the ground. Just roll it along.
But hit it hard.
Maybe one of the big guys in front pick it up. They're going to have probably one shot at a pass play. And, you know, with DeLuiso's leg, again, he'll be now kicking into the wind, Mike. His range is well over 50.
Berger will kick off. Tiki Barber deep to receive at his own 7.
Neither team without timeouts. The Giants, of course, more importantly without them.
I have never heard 78,000 people this quiet.
And stunned.
Absolutely. Clock won't start until it's touched. They'll get it out to the 37-yard line with 7 seconds to go. 3 ticked off on the kickoff.
What Danny Cannell is going to have to do is he's going to have to complete about a 20-yard pass in less than 7 seconds. So it's going to have to be towards the sidelines to have any kind of an opportunity for a gigantic field goal attempt by DeLuiso. You know, Mike, you look at the Vikings and the snow coming down, somehow or other, it just doesn't seem like they're a dome team.
No.
It seems like this weather is theirs.
If they gain 20 yards, it would still be something along the lines of a 60-yard field goal. Jason Sehorn is in on offense. He's part of the 3 guys on the right side. And Cannell is going to throw it as far as he can. Incomplete. Triple zeros on the clock, and the Minnesota Vikings have completed a remarkable comeback to beat the New York Giants. A stunning turn of events. Randall Cunningham, the hero of the second half. This was one of the big plays he hit. We'll be back to the Meadowlands in just a second.
What are you guys doing? Hey, you know the only...
The Giants 23-22. Let's go to Leslie Visser.
We came to win the day.
It will go down as one of the more remarkable games in NFL playoff history.
I'm glad we were part of it.
I
tell you, I can't think of a greater group of players and coaches, equipment managers, trainers, Roger Hedrick, in a game where we never gave up and played all the way to the finish.
What did you tell your team at halftime? You trailed by 16 points.
Got to stop the run first. If you can't stop the run, you don't win. So we did a great job of stopping the run in the second half, and that kept us in the ball game.
You scored 10 points in 2 minutes. How did that happen?
Well, I think you got to use the clock. You got to manage the time properly. You have to use the good, proper kills, and you got to make big plays. Chris Carter made big plays. Jay Green made big plays. We had an onside big play.
And Denny, what does this mean to you, your first playoff victory?
Well, it's the first of hope for it, I guess. I'm serious. I think this. All we're worrying about is trying to do the best we can. It was a good day for us. I'm glad we won, but the bottom line is we always going to go out and give 100%, and that's the best we can do.
Thank you. Now you're going back to your Bay Area. Thanks a lot, Denny. Congratulations. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thanks, Leslie. Once again, our final score, the Vikings 23, the Giants 22. Coming up next, the AFC wild card as Jacksonville takes on Denver. For Joe Theismann, Ron Jaworski, Leslie Visser, and our entire ABC Sports crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's go back to Chris Berman.
All right, Michael, thank you. Wow. Coming up, our second game, of course, Jacksonville at Denver. We'll have a preview from Mile High. We'll look again at this first game, live again with Packers coach Mike Holmgren, and more. Join Boomer Esiason and me after this message and a word from our ABC station. What a start to Wild Card Saturday. Will it be even wilder at Mile High Stadium? Coming up, the Jaguars and Broncos. That's at the top of the hour. Well, the Minnesota Vikings with a huge 20-point second half beat the Giants 23-22. I guess you never mark it down, do you?
No, you never mark it down. And the one thing is also, Chris, is that you can never underestimate the will of a veteran quarterback. Randall Cunningham had a horrible first half, but came back to make big play after big play, especially in the fourth quarter. And then, unfortunately for the Giants, they couldn't recover the onside kick. And something that we'll talk to Coach Holmgren about a little bit later.
Well, for sure. Well, here's what we're talking about. And we looked like early on, Randall Cunningham did not even enjoy being in the elements. He had trouble just making a handoff. He had trouble just getting the exchange. There were 3 turnovers in the first half by the Vikings. The Giants converted them all to field goals, and then a short drive, about 50 yards. Cannell to Aaron Pierce. It was 19-3 Giants at the half. It started to turn, though, when Tiki Barber fumbled after the hit by number 94, Tony Williams. The Vikings converted this into a score, run up the middle by Leroy Hurd, but still 19-10 Fruit Gum Company after 3. But Brad Maynard made the great hold, allowing Brad DeLuiso his 5th field goal. The Giants seemed to be in control, 22-13, but Randall Cunningham to Jake Reed made it 22-20, which set the stage. Buck and a half to go, onside kick. Chris Cal just couldn't come up with it. Chris Walsh made the recovery, the drive down the field to inside the 10. Eddie, eat, drink, and be Murray. And everyone in Minnesota is exactly that. When the field goal came with seconds to go, 23-22, the Vikings beat the Giants, which now means the Vikings know that they are going out west. The Vikings will play next Saturday in San Francisco, the late game. The winner of tomorrow's game at the Big Sombrero between the Lions and Bucks will go to Green Bay next Sunday for the early game, which is a perfect segue to the coach of the defending world champion Green Bay Packers, Mike Holmgren, who joins us again. Mike, I guess you can put away your notes and your Giants tapes for another season. You're looking to go to work for the Giants, but you know Denny Green a long time. Can you put into words what this win, getting off the schneid in the playoffs, especially a comeback like this, would mean to him?
Well, I think it has to be a great feeling for him. I know what a fine coach he is. I know how hard he works. I know how his players feel about him. And it's always nice to get that first one. Shoot, it was nice to get my first one in Minnesota this year after all those years of not winning up there.
So what do you look at tomorrow, Detroit, Tampa Bay? Any keys? I mean, you know these teams so well. You play the winner of that. What's the key there in that game in your eyes, Mike?
Well, I think Tampa will have an advantage because they're playing in Tampa. And when we played there a couple weeks ago, they said it was the biggest game in South Florida in 25 years. And I think this is even going to be bigger. And so that's an advantage. Yet Detroit has so many offensive weapons. And so it'll be, and Barry Sanders, of course. So it's going to be a great football game.
Very quickly on your team, winning 1 game, winning 2 games, hopefully for you, winning 3 games. What are 2 or 3 keys? Obviously, Gilbert Brown's health, but what are you looking for your team to repeat as champs?
Well, we have to maintain the momentum we've gotten in the last 4 games, I think, down the stretch, Chris. Getting Gilbert back will help our run defense, maintaining our continuity on both sides of the football. And then I'd like really our return game to pick it up a notch. We had a great return effort by Desmond Howard last year in the playoffs. We haven't had that type of return game yet. I'm hoping we kick it into gear now down the stretch.
Well, it is your time of year. Best of luck on trying to defend a crown. It's very difficult. Good luck to you and Happy New Year to everybody up there.
Same to you, Chris. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mike. Mike Holmgren of the Green Bay Packers watching tomorrow's game with added interest. We will be going out west for a preview for the Broncos and Jags in a moment.
Saturday, brought to you by Miller Lite, now official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Well, our second game today finds Jacksonville returning to the scene of last year's playoff crime when they won in a Denver stunner 30-27. These are two good teams, Broncos 12-4, Jaguars 11-5. Let's go out now to Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf at Mile High. Guys?
Thank you very much, Chris. The weather here is going to be just fine for football. 44 degrees, as you see, partly cloudy. The wind is gusting to about 30 miles per hour, and that could be a factor because it's supposed to go up much higher a little later on today. But the two quarterbacks we're going to watch today are remarkably similar in many ways. Let's take a look at them. John Elway, 37 years old in his 15th season, and Mark Brunell on the way up, 27 years old. He's played in 3 playoff games. Elway has been in 14, and he has won no Super Bowls. 3 of those were Super Bowls. But you know, last year, Al, it was Mark Brunell who came in here and dominated this game.
He really came of age in those 3 games. The week before, he had performed very well in Jacksonville's win over Buffalo. Then the brilliant performance here, and even played well in the AFC Championship game despite